Amidst a smoky sky filled with ash from a great fire, a calm voice rang out. The Gu family is suspected of colluding with Prince Liang's rebellion. Investigate them. Those who resist, kill without mercy. A young man in red robes fiercely resisted. Wang Rong, you say our Gu family colluded with Prince Liang? Do you have proof? It's clear you're jealous of our family's wealth, looking for an excuse to plunder us. Wang Rong sneered in reply. What if I don't have proof? Prince Liang has rebelled. The world is in chaos. Even Fan Xian, a military governor of Yuzhou, dares to call himself king. Our Wang family is simply following the current trend. He bent down, picked up a piece of firewood, and lifted the chin of the young man in red, continuing to mock him. Tell you the truth, if you hadn't broken my leg, this disaster might not have befallen your Gu family today. You were once a notorious playboy, now reduced to a mourning dog beneath my feet. Gu Jiusi. How does it feel? He shoved Gu Jiusi, causing his head to slam against the ground, and declared indifferently, one person acts, another suffers. Spare them? The Gu family disrespected the imperial decree. The entire Gu family execute them on the spot. As soon as he finished speaking, his subordinates seized Gu Jiusi. One of them drew his sword, ready for the execution. The cold, sharp blade slashed down, a large wound appearing across his neck, along with spurts of fresh blood. This scene left him with eyes wide open in death. Even after his last breath, the thought echoed in his mind. Save me, save me, save me, Lu Yunu. Even his voice permeated Lu Yunu's dream, startling her awake. Unconsciously, she murmured his name, Gu Jiusi. Her personal maid, hearing the commotion, rushed in to check on her. Did you have a nightmare, miss? Lu Yunu didn't elaborate, simply explaining it was just a bad dream. Help me get dressed. But while preparing her attire, she couldn't help but think to herself, Gu Jiusi is a notorious playboy in Yangzhou. Our paths should never have crossed. Why did I dream of him? My family is just a small cloth merchant family, and I'm just an unfavored, legitimate daughter. How strange. Lost in thought, her stepmother's maid came to announce, Miss, old Madam, Yi has arrived. Madam is calling for you. Lu Yunu nodded slightly. I understand. Tell my father I'll be right there. Then she reminded herself, Prince Liang's rebellion. Gu Jiusi, it was just a dream. Lu Yunu, pull yourself together. Successfully marrying into the Yi family, marrying Yi Shuren, that's the important matter you need to focus on. Looking at her melancholic reflection in the mirror, she couldn't help but feel sorry for herself. Why father dotes on his concubines and neglects my mother, his rightful wife? Growing up in such an environment, I understand the importance of maintaining relationships and not overstepping boundaries. Finding a suitable husband and marrying well is the only way I can gain some respect for my mother in this family. That's why, for so many years, I've strived to be the ideal young lady. Yi Shuren is the one I've chosen. He's a man of few words, but dependable. He's been a brilliant scholar since childhood, and who knows, he might even attain a high-ranking position someday. The Yi family has a strict and upright family tradition. They don't despise poverty nor favor wealth. To marry him, I've frequently visited eldest Miss Yi Yun and diligently cared for old Madam Yi for the past 7 or 8 years. She couldn't help but think happily. My coming-of-age ceremony just passed, and old Madam hinted at her intentions. Today must be the day they discuss the marriage proposal. Lu Nu, accompanied by her personal maid, arrived at the main hall of the Deep residence. Upon entering, she saw her stepmother, Zhang Yu'er, seated in the main chair. She paused for a moment, but quickly composed herself, accustomed to this preferential treatment. Bowing her head, she greeted, Greetings, Madam Deep. The Deep family matriarch warmly beckoned her closer. Come here, Nu, quickly sit down and talk. Nu is truly the most well-mannered and obedient girl I've ever met. Before she could move, her father, Lu Twin, coughed lightly. Nu, Madam Deep is here today to discuss the matter of your marriage to young Master Deep. What are your thoughts? Lu Nu didn't hesitate, immediately agreeing, I will follow my parents' arrangements. Both families began to chat animatedly. Then it's settled. Madam, it's just that the young master is currently taking the provincial examination. We don't know when he'll return to formally propose marriage. Zhang Yu'er interjected. I've heard that the young master of the Gu family is also of marriageable age, and his mother is looking for a suitable match for him. If the Gu family comes to see Nu, it will be difficult for either of our families to refuse. A long night brings many dreams. Madam, we must act quickly. Zhang Yu interrupted them. The proposal is a matter for the elders. It doesn't matter if the young master isn't back for a while. It would be better for Lord Deep to make the proposal first, to settle things, and avoid complications later. Unexpectedly, Madame Deep shook her head helplessly. I'm afraid that won't do. My son has a friend who was just appointed military governor of Azu. He's gone to congratulate him and hasn't returned yet. She curiously offered her guess. Is it the Pham family? The old woman couldn't help but ask. Nok Nu, how did you know? Lu Nok Nu explained, the new military governor of Azu. Is it perhaps Pham Hien? The other day, while having tea with my sisters, I happened to hear about it. Initially, I didn't believe it. A position like military governor, how could it be changed so easily? At this point, they understood, oh, that's it. You're right. However, Pham Hien has held a position in Azu for 13 years and has a very solid foundation. The previous military governor fell ill and passed away. Before his death, he recommended Pham Hien, which is why he was promoted. Life is truly unpredictable. So, we can only wait until the young master finishes the provincial examination before he can formally propose. Very well. Back in her room, she recalled each character from her dream. The military governor of Azu, Luong Vong's rebellion, Gu Q2, and Lu Nok Nu. His words, save me, still echoed in her mind. Lost in thought, she forgot to continue writing. When she finally picked up her brush, she smudged the ink on the paper, staring blankly as she thought. The new military governor of Azu is indeed named Pham Hien. Is this a coincidence or a premonition? Her close maid excitedly brought in a bouquet of flowers, cheerfully explaining, the flowers in the garden are blooming beautifully. I cut a few sprigs to bring back some good luck from Mississippi. The marriage between Miss and young Master Deep will surely go smoothly and sweetly. Lu Nok Nu responded sadly, I hope so. But the maid was so happy, she continued chattering. Miss, just now when I went to the garden to cut flowers, I heard the maids in Zhang Yu's room saying that a few days ago, Madame Gu went to the Lu residence. I don't know if it was to look at a potential bride or not. Every young lady in Yangzhou avoids that playboy Gu Jiuxi like the plague. Whoever marries into the Lu family, to him, is truly unlucky. Remembering the familiar name, Wu Si, she couldn't ignore it any longer and hurriedly ordered her maid, and Hong, go tell Madam that I have to go to the Lu residence. I must plead with them to agree. If that was truly a prophetic dream, Wu Si absolutely cannot marry Gu Jiuxi. After that, she immediately left the room. She left a note with messy handwriting on the table. 3 unfamiliar men suddenly appeared in the back courtyard of the Lu residence. The one on the right was Chun Tam. The one on the left was Su Wenyang. Of course, the one in the middle was Gu Jiuxi. The 3 of them were close friends and were all notorious playboys in Yangzhou. Gu Jiuxi, seeing his friend acting so mysteriously, couldn't help but poke him in the waist with his fan and ask curiously, Chun Tam, what are you up to? He winked and replied cheerfully, you'll find out later, Jiuxi. Don't worry. His vague answer made Gu Jiuxi so furious he wanted to hit him that you've been saying that all day. Outside. You said to let me know when we entered the Lu residence. Now we're in, and you still haven't said anything. Do you want to get beaten? Su Wenyang, seeing the situation getting out of hand, quickly held his shoulder and said, let me explain. We brought you here to see your wife. Gu Jiuxi grabbed his collar and interrogated him. Where did this wife come from? Why don't I know anything about it? His darkening expression made his friends break out in a cold sweat. Your parents went to the Lu residence a few days ago. Didn't you know? Anger surged in his beautiful eyes. He turned to leave, but his good brothers stopped him. Don't go. Since you're already here, you should at least take a look before leaving. Right, first confirm what she looks like. He replied disdainfully. Even if she looks like a celestial being, it won't make any difference. Before he could finish his sentence, a voice rang out. Si Wu, why are you here to see me? Why are your eyes so swollen? His good brothers, seeing someone arrive, hurriedly dragged him away and hid in a corner to eavesdrop on the 2 young ladies talking. Gu Jiuxi's parents came to our house 2 days ago. They called me into the main hall, looked me over, praised me a few times, and gave me a jade bracelet, then told me to leave. Lu Si Shui cried as she recounted the events. Lu Nok Nu inquired, what do they mean by that? Lu Si Shui cried, even harder that I don't know, but my parents guessed they came to discuss marriage with Gu Jiuxi. The Gu family has a powerful background. I'm truly afraid my father will agree because of their wealth. If I really have to marry Gu Jiuxi, how will I live? Lu Nok Nu quickly comforted her. I understand your suffering. If I had to marry him, I would immediately jump into a lake and kill myself. Hearing this from behind a rock, Gujio-si couldn't help but feel indignant. Jump into a lake? She's willing to marry me. How did it become doesn't want to marry? His close friends added fuel to the fire. Hearing their words, the one cried her eyes out is your future wife. That other girl is probably the legitimate daughter of the Liu family, famous for abandoning their wives. Lunak knew. Suddenly, she came up with a plan. I've got it. Let's find out about his personality. Then, we'll do the opposite of what he likes, forcing him to call off the wedding. Lu Si-shui asked in bewilderment. Force him to call off the wedding. Lunak knew calmly explained, for example, I heard Gujio-si still isn't married mainly because he has high standards for a wife. He hates refined, well-behaved young ladies, especially those who like reading Confucian classics. Go home and thoroughly read the 4 books and 5 classics, especially those about proper conduct. Memorize them well. Tomorrow, when you meet him, keep lecturing him. Her plan amazed the young gentlemen, leaving them gaping in awe. This girl is interesting. Even Gujio-si started to become intrigued. She then recounted everything she knew about him. I also heard he hates pretentious girls, especially those who actively approach him. He hates them even more. Later, when you meet him, you should speak softly. If he says anything harsh, cry. Don't speak too logically like a normal person. You must be vague in your speech, vague in your actions, and only know how to ask him for money. Moreover, he probably dislikes strong floral scents. I'll find you a packet of strong incense. When you meet him, wear it on your handkerchief and wave it in front of him. Remember to do exactly as I say. Hearing this, the group of friends could only sigh. This girl is truly interesting. If she really investigates you thoroughly, you might die a miserable death. Yes, very miserable. Only Lu Si-shui continued to cry, asking, what if, even then, he still wants to marry me? This question caused his hand, holding the fan, to tremble with anger. He couldn't help but step out and declare, don't worry, I definitely won't marry you. A sudden male voice from behind startled both Lu Si-shui and Lunak knew, causing them to turn around. His resolute eyes met her sparkling gaze. Upon seeing a strange man in her backyard, Lu Si-shui immediately panicked and interrogated him. What did you just say? Who are you? Which courtyard servant are you? Why are you here? Only Lunak knew remained calm to assess the situation. This is Gujio-si. If news of Gujio-si appearing in the Liu residence's backyard gets out, it's Lu Si-shui who will suffer. Gujio-si was about to reply, of course but was cut off by her loud shout. How dare a servant barge into the backyard like this? Drag him out. Throw him out of the residence. Gujio-si was stunned, not expecting her to target him. But before he could react, the guards seized him and roughed him up. So brave. Daring to barge into the young lady's courtyard. That's not it. What are you still standing there for? Run. The 2 young ladies hurriedly pulled each other away from the chaotic scene. The 3 of them ran out as fast as they could. Chun Tam, breathless and panting, said, that girl is really too timid. She called for help without saying a word. We had to run. I'm exhausted. Gujio-si didn't think so. Was she scared? She was clearly pretending, afraid we'd ruin her reputation. Lunak knew, a black flower, pure on the outside, but inside, she could be a maze, more scheming than Lu Si-shui. Su Wenxiang couldn't help but sigh. No wonder. I was wondering how she could marry him. His words made Gujio-si curious. Who did she marry? He's the head of Baklok Academy. Madame Deep announced long ago that her daughter-in-law must be Lunak Nu. Didn't you know? He was silent for a moment. He couldn't help but ponder. An ordinary background, unremarkable appearance, a by-the-book personality. Aside from being thoughtful, nothing stands out. And yet she's marrying someone who's been accepted as a student by Grand Scholar Devan. Everyone knows his future is bright. But what people hate most is a fake person. That's Deep Thien, a black lotus combined with a white lotus. He thought about the scene of a black lotus combined with a white lotus. Suddenly, he said cheerfully, all right, I agree to this marriage. Gujio-si said excitedly, all right, I agree to this marriage. Then he turned to instruct Trantam, find someone to follow Lunak Nu. Su Wenxiang asked blankly, why follow her? Then he suddenly understood. He couldn't help but ask worriedly, Gio-si, do you have feelings for Lunak Nu? His words angered Gujio-si, who smacked him on the head with his fan, then clarified, what nonsense are you talking about? Am I that tasteless? Let me tell you, even if all the women in the world died, I still wouldn't marry her. Su Wenxiang couldn't help but wonder, then why did you tell Trantam to follow her? He searched for a reasonable excuse. She embarrassed us today. Are we just going to let it go? She's Deep the Ant's fiancée now. Deep the Ant oppresses us, and she slaps us in the face. If we don't retaliate, are we even men? The other two were easily swayed, nodding. Right, so how are we going to deal with her? He recalled the scheme she had suggested to Lu Si Shui earlier. I understand your suffering. If I had to marry him, I would immediately jump into the river and kill myself. Then he said viciously, whatever she does to me, I'll do the same to her, make her suffer. He thought of this plan and couldn't help but smirk, pleased with his own cleverness. At this moment, Lu Nu was embroidering a handkerchief when she was suddenly pricked by a sharp needle, causing her fingertip to bleed. It turned out she was lost in thought, recalling the events of the previous day. Knowing Jiu Si's personality, he definitely wouldn't marry Si Vu. But the relationship between herself and him was now tied. She shouldn't have acted so rashly that day. She wondered when Deep the Ant would return. The Deep family was a scholarly clan. Perhaps they would give her some face and not make things difficult for her. Suddenly, an Hong rushed in, flustered. Miss, have you heard? The old master of the Gu family was so angry that he chased and beat the young master on the street. She asked in surprise, what happened? Seeing her interest, and Hong excitedly explained, what else? The young master of the Gu family was proclaiming everywhere that his marriage was his own decision. The old master was so furious that he chased him with a stick. Upon hearing this, she smiled. Although Gu Jiusi usually behaved somewhat unrestrainedly, he wasn't bad and often caused laughter in Duan Chao. The needle in Lu Nu's deft hands moved swiftly. The more she thought, the more she felt sorry for his outcome. Someone like him, though a bit troublesome, if he truly met the end she saw in her dream, it would be too tragic. And Hong, sensing the slightly stifling atmosphere in the room, suggested, Miss, are you bored? How about we go out and buy some cosmetics? Lu Nu also felt a little confined in the room and immediately agreed. All right, let's go out for a stroll and buy a few things for Mother's room while we're at it. The two went together to a famous cosmetics shop in the city. Seeing Lu Nu's interest in a particular product, the shopkeeper enthusiastically introduced it. This one, whether in quality or color, is excellent. It's very popular with our customers. Although it's a bit expensive, you get what you pay for. She picked it up, examined it for a moment, and sighed, it truly is very good. Suddenly, a man's voice called out from behind them. Knock Nu. The unfamiliar voice startled Hong, who cried out, Hey, why are you men in a place for women like this? Before them stood Gu Jiusi, cheerfully greeting her, Knock Nu. Beside him were Tran Tam and Su Wenxiang. Not wanting to engage with them, she quickly turned and pulled her maid away, and Hong, let's go. Tran Tam quickly stepped in front of them. Where do you think you're going? Su Wenxiang also blocked her path. Hey, don't go so fast. She was trapped, unable to stay or leave. What do you want? She asked. Gu Jiusi leaned casually against the wall and asked pointedly, Knock Nu, buying cosmetics? Knowing she couldn't handle them alone, she turned to the shopkeeper. Shopkeeper, isn't it inconvenient for male customers to be here? The shopkeeper, caught in a difficult position, explained, Young Master Gu, this is a cosmetics shop. You being here, my customers. Gu Jiusi, however, played a trick, bluntly declaring, I'll buy all the cosmetics here today. Then, he magnanimously declared to Lu Knock Nu, take whatever cosmetics you want. I'll gift them to you. And Hong couldn't help but defend her mistress. Young Master Gu, you should watch your words. My mistress is a respectable young lady from a good family. You like this, you like this. But he wasn't intimidated and retorted. Like this how? Tell me. Lu Nu thought to herself, Gu Jiusi is here to cause trouble today. The urgent matter is to protect my reputation. She immediately put on a pitiful expression, tears welling up in her beautiful eyes, as if she were being bullied. Young Master Gu, I don't know why you sought me out today. I, Knock Nu, am as different from you as heaven and earth. We have no connection. If my family has offended you in any way, please forgive us. Seeing her scheme, he widened his eyes in surprise. Young Master Gu, the magnanimous don't concern themselves with the minor offenses of those beneath them. Please forgive my family and don't make things difficult for me anymore. This display of weeping beauty made Tran Tam and Su Wenxiang feel guilty for bullying an innocent young woman. Have we gone too far? We've made her cry. Only Gu Jiusi was so angry that he gritted out each word through clenched teeth. Lu Nu, you're a good actress. having started down this path. She had to continue, hastily covering her face and sobbing. Young Master Gu, please spare me. His two good brothers also try to intervene. Josie, let it go. This only fueled his anger. Let go? What do you know about letting it go? This woman, realizing that if the situation continued like this, she would have to leave, he immediately came up with an idea. His eyes suddenly brightened, looking at her with admiration. Nak Nu, my dear, why are you crying? I'm not making things difficult for you. I just like you. Nak Nu was even more surprised to hear this, hastily denying. What? Young Master Gu, please don't joke. He took a step closer to her, affirming. I'm not joking. It was love at first sight and obsession at second. In this life, I won't marry anyone but you. Gu Jiusi pulled her closer and resolutely confessed his feelings. It was love at first sight and obsession at second. In this life, I won't marry anyone but you. Nak Nu could only relent and plead. Young Master Gu, about last time, I apologize. Today you've made things difficult for me. Consider it repaid. Please give me some face, all right? She couldn't help but think to herself, I've lost. In terms of shamelessness, I really can't beat Gu Jiusi, who knew he wouldn't relent, but instead brought up old grudges. Didn't you say you'd jump in the lake if you married me? Now I'm proposing to you. Hurry up, time waits for no one. Nak Nu, my dear, there's still plenty of fun to be had. Her petite body couldn't help but tremble. She asked fearfully, Young Master Gu, do you insist that I jump into this river before you'll stop? Her vulnerability startled him, and he absent-mindedly replied, Not really. He thought to himself gleefully, seeing her trembling with anger, seriously apologizing. It seems she's not that angry anymore. Suddenly, he made a suggestion, but you have to say one thing. Deep Thien is a terrible person. He's not as handsome, talented, and upright as Gu Jiusi. This request surprised her, leaving her stunned for a few seconds. But to avoid his retaliation, she stammered as requested. Young Master Gu is right. Young Master Deep is a terrible person. Not as handsome, talented, and outstanding, handsome and talented as you. Gu Jiusi nodded as he listened. That's right, and upright. She took the opportunity to add, you are a righteous gentleman, with noble character, and certainly wouldn't make things difficult for a small girl like me. Gu Jiusi, praised by her, was so pleased his nose practically puffed up and his cheeks flushed. He could only pretend to cough to hide his embarrassment. Ahem, you're quite eloquent. All right, let's go. Finally, she could breathe a sigh of relief. And Hong, let's go. Yes, Mississippi. The two hadn't even taken a step outside when Gu Jiusi's voice soared as high as a tossed rouge compact. Wait, he generously announced to the female customers in the shop. Everyone, choose a box of rouge. Put on my tab. The young ladies, witnessing this scene, were surprised and chattered amongst themselves. Then, the rouge compact she had painstakingly chosen earlier was tossed into her arms. He said coldly, Take it. Nak Nu stared blankly at the compact, unsure of his intentions. This is... She opened the compact and recognized it as the one from earlier. The maid beside her exclaimed happily, It's really good. Gu Jiusi, fanning himself, came up to her and explained, As soon as I entered, I saw you staring at this rouge compact. Go choose a few more. He even leaned closer to her face and whispered, Later, when you marry Deep Thien, take good care of him for me. Then he signaled to his good brothers. Let's go. He left Nak Nu standing there dumbfounded, unsure what he meant. After they left, Su Wenxiang curiously asked, Young Master, why did you give them rouge? But he just closed his eyes and answered casually, It's hard to say. It's just that when she suddenly changed her tone and apologized, I suddenly felt that she wasn't that hateful. He started to recall the moment he felt her body trembling in fear. I just remembered, teasing her like that seems a bit improper. Her life isn't easy either. Chen Tam and Su Wenxiang exclaimed after hearing this. What? Not easy. At this moment, the Gu residence was in complete chaos. Gu Jiusi's father angrily slammed the table and scolded him. This brat doesn't know what's good for him. Why does he think I arranged this engagement for him? Isn't it because I'm afraid his ninth uncle will drag him into the palace for recommendations? You arranged this engagement so vaguely, making him marry someone he doesn't like. In the end, it's not a good solution. Please don't be angry anymore. The more she spoke, the angrier he became, turning to yell at his wife. What is a reasonable solution then? Taking him to meet the princess. Suddenly, a servant rushed in and reported, "Master, madam, we found her." They both asked in unison, "Found who?" The servant quickly replied, "We found the young master's beloved." Madame Gu was so overjoyed she jumped up and asked, "Josie has a beloved?" His father, sitting beside her, was also surprised but managed to maintain his composure. "How do you know Josie has a beloved?" The servant presented the painting of the scene at the cosmetics shop to Madame Gu. The young master said, "He won't marry anyone but this girl. Isn't this his beloved? This is her portrait." They immediately opened it to satisfy their curiosity. This girl was Miss Lu Nak Nu, originally from Zhongtrao. Although she looked ordinary, she was a typical young lady of a respectable family with a very good personality. Most importantly, their son liked her. Madame Gu was so happy that she hurriedly ordered, "That's right, get ready. Come with me to prepare the betrothal gifts. Tomorrow, I'll go with the master to propose marriage." The servant hesitantly revealed, "Madam, but I heard a rumor. I heard that old Madame Deep has taken a liking to the young lady. The marriage between the two families might already be settled." Hearing this, she sadly asked, "Settled already?" Unexpectedly, the servant shook his head. "No, not yet. It's just a rumor." Master Gu wondered, "Madam, this seems a bit strange." She nodded in agreement. "It is strange. Josie has always told me everything, and now there's a girl he likes, but he never told me. Moreover, she's such an ordinary girl. How do you think they met?" He instructed his wife, "Don't tell Josie about the proposal yet. After all, this is the girl he said he wouldn't marry anyone, but let's settle it first. We can't let him cause trouble this time." Hearing her husband's words, she hesitated a bit. This marriage proposal is such a big matter. Not telling him seems a bit inappropriate. But he dismissed her concerns. "It's all right." These were his own words. "Let's go to the Lu family's house and get a clear understanding of the situation. If the two families have already made arrangements, then of course, a gentleman doesn't steal another man's wife. If not, then it's the Lu family's decision." The very next morning, Master Gu and Madame Zhang from the Gu family brought betrothal gifts to the Lu residence. Master Lu spoke first, breaking the awkward silence. "May I ask what brings you two here?" Master Gu didn't beat around the bush and got straight to the point. "A few days ago, I heard that your family had some good news. It seems that Miss Lu and the young master of the Yi family are engaged. Is this true?" Hearing this, Zhang Yunyi couldn't help but gloat inwardly. Lu Nak knew marrying into such a good family. The betrothal gifts will eventually belong to my son. Although the Yi family's betrothal gifts were not insignificant, how could the Yi family's assets compare to the Gu family's? Thinking this, she hastily brushed off any connection with the Yi family. That's just a rumor. Arnak Nu and the eldest miss of the Yi family are close friends, so they're a bit closer than usual. But the matter of marriage has never been discussed. Currently, the eldest young master of the Yi family is taking his exams. How could he have time to talk about such things? Even Lu Xian chimed in. Yes, there's no engagement. Jiang Nu had remained silent since their arrival. Hearing this, she calmly spoke. "Actually, we came here today to propose marriage between our son, Josie, and Miss Lu. We've heard that Miss Lu is virtuous, intelligent, and talented. Our Josie, although not exceptionally gifted, is also intelligent and capable. They would truly be a well-matched couple. The Gu family is straightforward. We always show our sincerity. If you agree, this is the list of betrothal gift from the Gu family. Tomorrow, we will officially deliver them." As soon as Zhang Yunyi heard about the betrothal gifts, her eyes lit up. When Master Gu opened the list detailing the gifts, she practically drooled with greed. Jiang Nu paid no mind, calmly sipping her tea and continuing, "If there's anything amiss, please tell us. What we can do, we will certainly do." Hearing this, Zhang Yunyi immediately froze, her expression changing in an instant. Wiping away tears as if she deeply loved Lu Nak Nu, she confided, "Nak Nu is like my own daughter. Money isn't the most important thing. What matters is the sincerity of young Master Gu." Madame Zhang smiled in response. "My family isn't good with words, so we can only express our sincerity with gold and silver, but we absolutely don't mean to offend Miss Lu." The couple exchanged a glance, and then Madame Zhang continued, "In one's life, only what you hold in your hands is truly reliable. Isn't that right?" Master Gu added, We also have 5 shops on East Street, which will be included in the betrothal gifts. What do you think? Greed flickered in Zhang Yunyi's eyes as she thought. East Street is the busiest street in Yangzhou City. One shop is already very valuable, and now there are 5. She gave her husband a thumbs up and then showered Gu Jiuxi with praise. Master, young Master Gu is a talented young man. It's not Nu's blessing to be chosen by him. Master, what do you think? He also considered his daughter's future. Yes, Master and Madame Gu are good people. Nak Nu will certainly not suffer if she marries into their family. Then anxiously turned to Madame Zhang for her opinion. May I ask, what does young Master Gu think of this marriage? She thought to herself, although Gu Jiuxi is a bit frivolous, whether a woman lives well or not depends on whether the man loves her. Madame Zhang replied frankly, if my son didn't admire Miss Liu, why would we go to such lengths? Before Master Liu could speak, Zhang Yunyi interrupted. Then it's a match made in heaven, a good marriage ordained by the old man under the moon. Arnak Nu has also said before that young Master Gu is handsome, straightforward, and a rare good man. Madame Zhang asked Master Liu for his opinion. That's wonderful then, Master Liu. So we'll officially deliver the betrothal gifts tomorrow. Is that all right? Then I shall await your esteemed presence tomorrow. Master Liu added. After seeing the Gu family off, Master Liu instructed Zhang Yunyi, Madam, please go and discuss this with Nak Nu. It's more convenient for you women to talk about this amongst yourselves. Overjoyed by the lucrative betrothal gifts, she immediately assured him, Don't worry, Master. The Gu family won't let Nak Nu suffer any hardship. However, she was scheming something else in her heart. Nak Nu is truly valuable. This matter must be settled before she finds out, so as not to miss out on my good fortune. At this time, Lu Nak Nu was embroidering a handkerchief in her courtyard. Hearing the commotion outside, she became curious and immediately sent her maid to inquire. Why is it so lively outside? And Hong, go and see. Yes, Mississippi. The courtyard was filled with chests covered in red wedding cloth. And Hong hurried back to report. Miss, the guards outside say that you have been confined by Second Madam. They say word of the incident at the cosmetic shop reached Second Madam, and that the confinement is for the sake of your reputation. Upon hearing this, she couldn't help but wonder. Second Madam has always presented herself as a kind mother, but this time she confined me just because of Gu Jiuxi's prank? And Hong couldn't help but wonder. But miss, why do you think Second Madam is suddenly so concerned about you? Stroking the embroidered cloth in her hand, she couldn't help but scoff. She's probably afraid that the marriage proposal from the Yi family will fall through, isn't she? Fetch me the Little Stone Mountain Chronicles. The maid went to the bookshelf, searched for a while, and then held the book in her hand, curiously asking, Miss, are you reading again? Lu Nak Nu replied enthusiastically. Last time at the Yi residence, Ayun told me that young Master Yi had read this book and enjoyed it very much. I must keep up, so I'll have something to talk about with him later. Flipping through the book in her hand, she unconsciously asked the maid beside her, When do you think young Master Yi will return? And Hong immediately reassured her, Don't worry, miss. Young Master Yi will be back soon. Then she leaned closer and whispered in her ear, He'll be back soon to fetch you. Her words made Lu Nak Nu blush. Embarrassed, Lu Nak Nu pretended to pinch the maid's cheek and reminded her, Don't talk nonsense. Suddenly, someone knocked on her door. Thinking it was someone bringing her food, and Hong reminded her, Miss, take a break, eat something, and then continue reading. She wondered herself, why is lunch ready so early today? Lunch was quickly served, filling the table. Lu Nak Nu ate her meal, as usual, calmly. But within seconds, she felt her eyelids getting heavy. She hurriedly called out to her maid, and Hong, why am I so? I'm so sleepy. She hadn't finished her sentence before her head slumped onto the table, leaving her personal maid in a panic, unsure of what to do. Miss, Lu Nak Nu fell into a deep sleep. When she woke up, she had a headache. Frowning, she opened her eyes. She had slept so long she didn't recognize her surroundings. Where is this? Fortunately, her personal maid, hearing the noise, parted the curtains to check on her. Seeing her awake, she couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Miss, you're finally awake. You've slept the whole morning. Lu Nak Nu was still busy groaning and massaging her temples. My head hurts so much. Then Hong hurriedly added, Miss, Second Madam is here. She says she has something to tell you and is waiting in the outer hall. Sensing something was amiss, She quickly ordered her maid, and Hong, help me wash my face. In the outer hall of her courtyard, Zhang Yuni was leisurely enjoying hot tea. Lu Nok-nu appeared with her maid and immediately curtsied, "Second madam." Zhang Yuni feigned concern, hesitantly saying, "Nok-nu, I've come to tell you something. The Gu family has sent their betrothal gifts." Lu Nok-nu was stunned, her face filled with panic. "The Gu family? Why did they send betrothal gifts?" Then she stammered, Father, has he agreed?" Zhang Yuni feigned sadness and replied, "He has agreed." Hearing this confirmation, Lu Nok-nu's legs gave way and she collapsed. And Hong, who was beside her, quickly supported her. "Miss," instead of speaking tactfully as her father had requested, Zhang Yuni deliberately drove a wedge between them. "Nok-nu, I know this is difficult for you, but your father is doing this for your own good." She carefully helped Lu Nok-nu onto a chair, speaking flowery words of concern. "When you were to marry into the Yi family, your father was actually worried, afraid they would look down on you. Moreover, Yi Dian's future is bright. If he goes to the capital to become an official and has other opportunities, he might become unfaithful and your life would be very difficult." Zhang Yuni even used the father-daughter bond to constrain her. "And if you go to the capital, so far away, it would be difficult for your father to see you again. The Gu family is powerful and influential. Gu Jiuxi won't go to the capital, and you will be the undisputed mistress of the house. Won't you be the one in charge?" The more Lu Nok-nu listened, the more indignant and angry she became, trembling with rage. She thought about how she and old Madame Yi were less important than the Gu family's money, and her anger intensified. With the Gu family's financial power, they must have offered a large sum. What's the big deal about marrying off a daughter? What's the harm in offending the Yi family? Whether it was second madam confining me or the drug breakfast, it was all because they were afraid I wouldn't agree to this. But how can I be reconciled to this? The thought of her marriage to Yi Dian being canceled in an instant fueled her resentment. I waited so many years for Yi Dian. I placed all my hopes on him. Our hands were so close to being clasped together forever. Now, he's been replaced by that Gu Jiuxi. She thought of him arrogantly repeating every word he had said to her. I wasn't joking. I fell in love with you at first sight, and my love has only grown stronger with each meeting. In this life, there's no one else for me but you. She couldn't bear the thought. In the end, I have to marry that good-for-nothing playboy, the one all the young ladies in Yangzhou City avoid, Gu Jiuxi. She fearfully recalled the dream she had that night. The Gu family is suspected of being involved in Prince Liang's rebellion. They are under investigation and their assets are being seized. Anyone who resists will be executed on the spot. They said it was for my own good, that I would live a life of luxury with mountains of gold and seas of silver. But what if that dream were real? Her inner voice mingled with the chaotic cries for help on the day the fire burned bright red. Help. Prince Liang has rebelled. The world is in chaos. Even Fan Xian, the military governor of Yuzhou, dares to declare himself emperor. Our Wang family is merely following the current trend. The Gu family defies the decree. The entire Gu family will be executed on the spot. Still alive, she remembered the scene of Gu Jiuxi being beheaded. Then she thought of her mother. I'm not afraid of death, but if I die, what will become of my mother? Will she be able to live? First her father, then her mother. Just for money, Zhang Yuni spared no effort to persuade her. Nok-nu, don't think like that. Not to mention anything else. The doctor said before that your mother's illness needs to be treated with rare medicines. If you marry into the Gu family, what treasures can't be found? Madame's illness will surely be cured as well. Nok-nu, think more about your mother. Suddenly, Lu Nok-nu's pupils contracted. Then she turned and stared at her with a vicious look, making her flinch in fear. She couldn't help but worry. Did she discover something? No, impossible. How could a 15-year-old girl understand anything? But just a few seconds later, she returned to her usual timid demeanor, turning away and stammering, Can I discuss this with my mother?" Seeing her easily intimidated as usual, she cut off her retreat. "Silly girl, your father has already decided. The betrothal gifts have been accepted. What other way out do you have? If you refuse this marriage, you won't find a family as good as the Gu family." She said with difficulty, "If my father and second madam have decided, then let it be. But what about the Yi family? There must be an explanation." Unexpectedly, she easily replied, "Don't worry about that. I've already sent someone to talk to grandmother Yi." The Gu family's sudden arrival with betrothal gifts was unexpected. Moreover, They are a powerful family, and we dare not do anything else. Grandmother Yi will understand. Her whole body trembled from suppressing her emotions. Her hands clenched into fists on her lap. Despite this, she couldn't help but sarcastically remark, "Second Madam is so thoughtful." Nok Nu is relieved. Then she stood up and politely said, "Second Madam, it's time for my mother to take her medicine. My heart is uneasy and want to go take care of her. I wonder if that's all right." Fortunately, she didn't push her too hard that if you don't mind the trouble, go and see her. Take good care of your mother. Now that your marriage is settled, we don't need to pretend anymore. The confinement is lifted. She rejoiced inwardly. Lunok Nu would finally marry into the Gu family. If it's possible not to make enemies, then don't. As soon as Zhang Yuni left, her expression immediately changed. No longer the polite and timid girl from before. At this moment, An Hong anxiously came out to check on her. "Miss, what should we do now?" "What are we going to do?" Unlike her maid's worry, Lunok Nu calmly ordered, "Call Nan Nan from the outer courtyard. Tell her to come with me to see Mother." And Hong asked in bewilderment, "Is it the beautiful woman Miss saved and arranged to stay in the outer courtyard before?" Lunok Nu hummed in agreement and continued, "By the way, you also go and inquire about the list of betrothal gifts from the Gu family for me." "Yes." Waiting until the room was empty, she slumped down the ly, her whole body drained of energy as she sighed. "It's over. No matter how much revenge I take, no matter what I do, my life is ruined." The strength and resentment she had built up now crumbled, transforming into glistening tears that rolled down her cheeks. Sunlight danced playfully on the faded roof of the pavilion. Despite the cheerful scene, the mood of those present was a stark contrast. Lunok Nu helped her mother inside to sit and talk. Her mother slowly sat down and asked, "Today, I heard a lot of commotion outside." "No," she lowered her head, replying sadly. "It wasn't the Yi family, but the Gu family." "Gu Jiusi." Her mother was stunned. "That Gu Jiusi? The one who gambles and fights all day, doesn't strive for anything, and relies on his family's money to cause trouble." Seeing her daughter's confirmation, her mother was so angry she started coughing, then urged, Go find your father." But before she could finish, she coughed up blood. Lunok Nu quickly ordered her maid, and Hong, "Quickly go, get a doctor." Her mother hurriedly wiped the blood away with a handkerchief, as if she were used to it, and muttered bitterly, "He's lost all sense of decency. This marriage can't happen, it can't." By now, Lunok Nu's eyes were brimming with tears. "Mother, it's useless." Hearing this, her mother became even more frightened. She explained sadly, "The betrothal gifts have already been sent. What respectable family will want to marry a girl who's been rejected?" Her once bright eyes became dulled. "I have no other choice." Her mother continuously wiped the blood from her mouth, blaming herself. "Mother, it's my fault. I'm useless. I can't help you." Not wanting her mother to worry further, she reassured her, "Mother, don't overthink it. I truly volunteered." Her mother didn't hide anything. "With decades of life experience, how could I not see through your lies? Volunteered for what? All these years, you've only ever said good things, never bad things. But have you lived well? How could I not know? The two could only comfort each other, but I can't do anything. I only hoped Zhang Yuni would be considerate of our situation and treat you better. But now she's sold you off." Lunok Nu forced a smile, wiping away the tears that wouldn't stop flowing, and quickly defended, "Mother, it's not like that. Truly, I volunteered. Actually, Gu Jiusi is very good. He even helped me. The rouge I bought for you last time was a gift from him. He treats me very well, really. Marrying him, I won't be bullied." Seeing her mother's unrelenting heartache, she changed the subject. "Mother, Gu Jiusi and I are betrothed now, so don't worry anymore. The urgent matter now is something else. The Gu family's betrothal gifts are surely substantial, but with Zhang Yuni's character, my dowry will likely be meager. If people laugh at me then, I won't be able to hold my head up in the Gu family." Having said that, she called in the person who had been waiting outside. "Nan Nan, come in." A beautiful young woman entered politely and bowed. "Greetings, madam." Lunok Nu didn't beat around the bush. "Nan Nan, I called you here today to ask. After I get married," Lunok Nu said, "you can stay and help my mother if you want. If not, it's all right." Nan Nan readily replied, "Miss, you're joking. It's already a blessing for me to be madam's personal maid. How could I refuse?" Having received Nan Nan's agreement, she turned to instruct her mother. "Mother, let her stay with you." She continued resolutely, "Tomorrow, Mother, you will feign illness, so father will come visit me." In the stillness of the night, and Hong's voice rang out, "Miss, I've finished investigating. Besides the usual gold, silver, jade, and jewelry, The Gu family also gifted 5 shops on East Street. They sent the betrothal gifts so quickly, they probably haven't had time to change the ownership deeds. She handed a stack of papers to her maid, carefully reminding her, and Hong, find a few trustworthy people and immediately go to the gambling house to find Gu Jiusi. Give him this letter and tell him to change the deeds into my name. And Hong looked worriedly at the papers in her hand. Miss, will this make the Gu family look down on us? Lunak knew could only give a wry smile. Oh, you think the Gu family doesn't know about our family situation? I've long been a laughingstock. What's there to be ashamed of anymore? And Hong was about to speak again, but she was interrupted that if I told you to deliver the message, it means I've already thought it through. Besides, Gu Jiusi isn't a bad person at heart. He let the Gu family propose marriage, so he must have some feelings for me. Because Hong left immediately to carry out her orders, the previously quiet scene returned to its original stillness. The next morning, before the sun had a chance to illuminate the world, Gu Jiusi casually left his house, leaving the servants to gossip helplessly. Oh, young Master Gu left early today. It's barely dawn. He yawned repeatedly as he walked, and oh, more gambling. No more. I've lost all my money. Suddenly, someone appeared in front of him, blocking his path and startling him awake. He assumed it was someone sent by his father, so he said frankly, if you can't give me a good reason to stop me today, don't blame me for being impolite. Unexpectedly, the person handed him a stack of papers and relayed a message. Young Master Gu, our miss said, if you have the intention of becoming husband and wife, please protect her more. He listened for a moment, then stood dumbfounded. What nonsense are you talking about? Did you get the wrong person? What? I'm Gu Jiusi. Well, husband and wife. After reading a bit, he suddenly understood. He quickly confirmed with the messenger. Your miss is Lunak Nu? Very good, very good. After confirming, he felt as if he'd been struck by lightning out of a clear sky, gritting his teeth and cursing under his breath. Very good. Old Gu, you damned old man. You treated my words like wind in your ears, haven't you? Furious, he wanted to go back and confront his father. The messenger, seeing him ignoring him, reminded him, young Master Gu, please take care of the deed matter quickly. Unexpectedly, he was met with a shout. What deeds? Agreeing to a marriage like this? Is that miss out of her mind? Lunak Nu sipped her tea, harboring resentment towards each person involved. In my entire life, I've never hated anyone, but now I truly despise Gu Jiusi. Even with Zhang Yuni, it was just a conflict of interest. No one is truly a good person. Suddenly, Hong rushed in, calling out, Miss? Young Master Gu Jiusi said I'm crazy. Lunak Nu's elegant brows furrowed deeper as she listened to her maid's report. But now, I truly resent Gu Jiusi. Hearing his attitude and seeing the Gu family's actions, I'm afraid they're determined to find him a suitable match. She continued, he's not happy about it, and it just so happened that his joke about marrying me reached the Gu family's ears. So they made the decision before he even knew. Everything I've built over the years has crumbled because of Gu Jiusi's careless words. And Hong, standing beside her, quickly comforted her, Miss, please don't be too upset. Young Master Gu doesn't seem reliable at all. If my mother can't secure a proper dowry for me, what will I do when I marry into the Gu family? Her hand, resting on her teacup, trembled increasingly. Suddenly, the cup was thrown to the ground, shattering into pieces. She raged, the entire Gu family is crazy. The elders propose marriage without understanding the situation. The younger generation is immature and only knows how to gamble. No one understands the gravity of marriage. No one in that family is reliable. Gu Jiusi probably thinks I'm trying to marry him for his family's wealth. How preposterous. They're all insane. And Hong, still by her side, soothed her, Miss, calm down. Please calm down. Meanwhile, the Gu residence was in chaos. The servants desperately tried to stop Gu Jiusi, but to no avail. Young Master, please calm down, calm down. He stormed through the house, searching for his parents, fuming inwardly. Didn't Lunak Nu say she'd jump in a lake if she had to marry me? Why did she agree to my parents' proposal? A calculating woman like her must have been targeting my family from the start, scheming from the moment we met. Reaching the door, he roared, Gu Laohua, you old fool, come out here. His mother hid behind something, afraid to speak, while his father emerged, cane in hand, bellowing, you brat, you dare show your face here again? Gu Jiusi, enraged, thrust a paper in front of his father, demanding, "What is the meaning of this? Why are you arranging my marriage with Lu Nok Nu?" His father roared back, "What's wrong with Lu Nok Nu? I told you to marry her, so you will marry her. How dare you defy me?" He stopped the descending cane with his hand and declared, "I said it before, no one can force me to marry. Unless I personally agree, even you, father, cannot make me submit." As father and son grappled, Madame Jiang Nu cautiously inquired, "But isn't she the one you wanted to marry?" He froze, turning to her in bewilderment. "When did I say I wanted to marry her?" The servant who had delivered the message that day spoke up. "You said that in this lifetime you would marry no one but her." "Young master, wasn't that at the cosmetic shop? The whole city knows." He quickly denied responsibility. I was just joking. How can I be taken seriously?" His words only further enraged his father that a man must take responsibility for his words. Otherwise, you're ruining another person's reputation. This is a lifelong commitment. Knowing he was losing ground, he lowered his voice, though still unwilling to marry. "Isn't marrying her also a lifelong commitment?" "I don't care. Cancel the engagement. She's about to marry Yidian. What are you all doing?" His mother finally intervened, gently explaining, "Is that what you're worried about? Don't worry. We investigated before proposing. There's no such thing. The Liu family said that Miss Liu is fond of you." He started to reason after hearing his mother's words. She doesn't like a prestigious gentleman with a bright future like Yi Shuren, but turns around and likes a wastrel like me? Wait a minute. If she's after money, marrying me is much better than marrying Yi Shuren. Could it be that Lu Nok Nu liking Yi Shuren was just a cover, a way to get close to me and trap me? But he remained firm. "No matter what, I don't want to get married. If I have to marry, I will marry someone I like. Why should I let her schemes and everyone else force me into this?" His father questioned him angrily. "Force you? You were the one who said you wouldn't marry anyone but her, weren't you? A real man should stand by his words. If you want to break off the engagement, what about her future?" But he felt it was a simple matter. What about it? She should find someone she likes and do what she wants. Why does she have to get married? If the engagement is broken off, is she going to use a white silk ribbon and a short sword to end her life? Doesn't she have anything else to do besides getting married? You guys are being unreasonable. Even though Madame Gu tried her best to explain, Josie, daughters and sons are different. If you break off the engagement, what will people say about her? Who will marry her? Would you marry someone who's had their engagement broken off? If you like her, why won't you marry her? Josie Nok Nu is a proper young lady. She doesn't have your courage. Who knows? You might break off the engagement today, and tomorrow she'll kill herself out of shame. But he only responded with one question. Then why were you all in such a hurry to arrange the engagement? At this point, she could only tell the truth. Your uncle wants to bring you to the eastern capital, find you a position, and see if there's any chance to catch the princess's eye. But this matter with the princess could ruin half your future prospects. With your uncle's personality, if he really comes, we won't be able to stop him. So, before he arrives, we have to settle your marriage. You haven't taken a liking to any girl all this time, so it's all the same anyway. But he brushed it off, saying, "Nonsense, I'm not going, and my uncle can't force me. That's just an excuse." Madame Goose sadly lowered her eyes. "No matter what kind of family we are helpless against power." Josie, despite his mother's pleas, he heartlessly turned away. "I don't want to get married. I'm going to break off the engagement right now." So old Madame Gu resorted to the last resort. "Someone seize him." The guard in the residence immediately surrounded him. After he was tied up like a pig's trotter, his father coldly ordered, "Lock him in his room. No one is to release him before the wedding." His father's coldness stunned him, as he had never seen his father so ruthless before. The originally quiet rear courtyard was now filled with Gu Jiosi's shouts. "Help! Open the door. The Gu family's master is selling his son, forcing his son into marriage. I'm going to die. Is anyone there? I'm really going to die. Open the door." Despite the young master's hoarse cries from inside, the two guards at the door pretended not to hear anything. He could only lament dejectedly, "That old man is really determined to lock me up. I've shouted myself hoarse, and no one cares. Well, I guess I'll just sit back and wait." Her gaze suddenly fell upon the letter on the table. She couldn't help but sigh. This letter from Lu Nok Nu is rather well written. She sincerely describes the hardships she's facing at home and asks for my help in resolving the land dispute. Although I look down on her, I despise the Liu family even more. I have 5 shops. I can't let that concubine benefit. I'll help her this once. She immediately called out to those outside, "Someone, I want to see my mother." Not long after, her mother arrived, carrying a bowl of steaming soup. As she appeared, she couldn't resist teasing her daughter. "My dear, you've been shouting so much, your throat must be parched. I had to prepare some pear soup for you. Drink it while it's hot." She waited for her mother to sit down before hesitantly speaking. Mother, there's something I want to ask you." "Go ahead," her mother replied. She sniffled. "This is the first time I've asked for a favor for someone else." "Well, since this marriage is inevitable, Lu Nok Nu can be considered a member of the Gu family." "Mother, you know, the betrothal gifts will likely fall into the hands of that concubine. It's disgusting." Her mother looked at her daughter with satisfaction and frankly replied, "I understand. I've also considered this matter. Therefore, this time, I've put the deed to the most valuable piece of land in the betrothal gifts in her name. After the gifts are delivered, I'll have Lu Nok Nu's birth mother handle them." Inwardly, her mother couldn't resist teasing her. "You say you don't care, but aren't you still very concerned about your future daughter-in-law?" Gu Jiusi, fearing a misunderstanding, quickly explained, "It's nothing. I'm just helping her out of convenience. I just find that concubine of the Lu family disgusting. I don't have any other intentions." Her mother chuckled inwardly, thinking, such a clumsy denial. Meanwhile, Lu Nok Nu and her mother were also having a conversation. All right, I understand. It's been half a month, and the Gu family still hasn't delivered the betrothal gifts. Everything on the list has been prepared. Perhaps the land transfer is taking some time. Mother, please continue. What happened after father stayed the night with Non? The first madam calmly recounted, "Your father did as I said and didn't immediately elevate Non's status. Perhaps he feels guilty, as he hasn't dared to say anything to Trong Noyetni. Every day, he uses the excuse of looking for me to visit Non. He seems to be behaving better now, and their relationship has eased. Your father is treating me much better." Suddenly, and Hong rushed in, interrupting their conversation. "Madam, Miss, the Gu family has brought the betrothal gifts. Concubine Truong invites you both over." Lu Nok Nu nodded. "All right, we'll be right there." The first madam wondered, hasn't Truong Noyet Ni always handled these matters? Why is she being so kind today? But her daughter soothed her. "Mother, that was before. Now, father definitely feels some remorse and pity towards you. Such an important matter as his daughter's marriage. How could he not let her birth mother handle it? Mother, let's go. Don't keep Madame Gu waiting." She escorted her mother to the main house of the Lu family and greeted them politely. "Father, concubine Trung, Madame Gu." Jiang Nu, upon seeing the appearance of her future daughter-in-law, was momentarily stunned. But she didn't pay much attention to that, gently helping her mother to the head seat. Seeing this, Madame Gu went straight to the point. "Today I brought the land and property deeds as part of the betrothal gifts. Logically, the betrothal gifts brought to the Lu family should be left for Nok Nu's brothers, but Nok Nu has no older brothers. Moreover, the amount of our betrothal gifts is substantial, and it would be difficult for your family to provide a comparable dowry. So, I've decided to put these fertile fields and shops in Nok Nu's name. You only need to prepare some gold as a dowry." Lord Lu and second concubine Yu, upon hearing this, abruptly stood up in shock. "What? You're putting the land deeds in Nok Nu's name?" Even the main character, Lu Nok Nu, was stunned at my name, but didn't Gu Jiusi disagree? After realizing her reaction was excessive, second concubine, Yu awkwardly sat back down, regaining her composure with a forced smile. "Madame Gu, you're joking. Nok Nu still has 2 younger brothers. How can you say she has no brothers?" Madame Gu questioned, "Younger brothers? Then I must have been misinformed. I previously heard that the first wife only had 1 daughter and no other children under her name. So, it turns out the first wife has 2 sons." Second concubine Yu's heart skipped a beat at Madame Gu's words. Lord Lu had to step in to smooth things over. He coughed. "My 2 sons are born from concubine Noyet." Madame Gu found this so amusing, she covered her mouth with a handkerchief. She even deliberately added, her voice laced with mockery, "Lord Lu, there's a clear difference between legitimate and illegitimate children. Which family uses illegitimate children for inheritance? Nok Nu is the legitimate daughter. Her status is different from those illegitimate children." Concubine Noyet, feeling the sting of these words, was furious but couldn't retort because it was the truth. Lord Lu's face had already been lost since he started favoring his illegitimate children. Lu Nok Nu, witnessing this scene, gleefully thought, how many times have they been mocked behind their backs? But being slapped in the face so publicly is a first. But so what if they're slapped? This is Madame Gu from the Gu family of Yangzhou. What can they do? At this moment, I feel a sense of joy I've never experienced before. She clenched her hands tightly to suppress a cry of satisfaction at her vengeance being fulfilled. It's the first time I've met a woman who can calmly drink tea while slapping my father and that shrew of a concubine in the face like this. She can disregard the burning rage from that shameless woman and that useless man because her status is untouchable to them. Lunok Nu couldn't help but think it seems marrying into the Gu family might not be a bad choice after all. Moreover, someone like Madame Gu might not be as terrifying as I imagined. Concubine Noyette's shrill and bitter voice echoed through the large room. Well, even if you don't put it in Nok Nu's brothers' names, you should put it in our Lord Lu's name. You want the betrothal gifts, and you've already put Nok Nu's name on them. Haven't you brought them back already? Madame Gu didn't raise her voice, but calmly retorted, Concubine Noyette, this is the second point I considered. If our Gu family were to change the land deed to Lord Lu's name, how much dowry does the Lu family intend to provide? Hearing this, second concubine Yu's face paled and her body trembled. Lu Xian feigned a cough to subtly inquire, Madame Gu, what do you consider a reasonable dowry? He hadn't expected her to turn the question back on him. Lord Lu, you yist. I was merely asking. The specifics are a matter for your Lu family to decide. We aren't greedy for your daughter's dowry. However, the dowry reflects the bride's standing. I'm concerned that the first madam lacks experience, so I specifically came to inquire. Just as the first madam was about to speak, Concubine Yu interrupted. This matter doesn't require elder sister to trouble herself. Madame Gu can ask me. Seeing Zhang Yuer's eagerness to take credit, Madame Gu cleared her throat sarcastically. So, the Lu household isn't managed by the first madam, but by a concubine? Lu Xian shot a frustrated glance at the first madam. Second concubine then chimed in, Madame Gu is unaware that our first madam's health is delicate, so I often assist her. Having successfully steered the conversation, Madame Gu asked directly, so, you also assisted with your own daughter's dowry? Lord Lu finally realized Madame Gu's intentions and slammed the table, scolding the foolish second concubine. When Madame Gu is speaking, is there room for your interruptions? He immediately redirected the question to the first madam. Madam, since you manage the dowry, please discuss it further with Madame Gu. She bowed respectfully. Thank you, my lord. Then, turning to her counterpart, she said, Madame Gu, I have been preparing Nok Nu's dowry for several years now. It is comparable to... After settling everything, she returned to her quarters to rest. Unexpectedly, that night's nightmare returned. This time, she had to flee the burning Gu household. But before she could escape, countless demonic hands reached out as if to drag her back. Wang Vin suddenly appeared beside her, pulling her into his arms and grabbing her hair as he spat cruel words. Before, I desired you, but you acted all high and mighty. Now, aren't you destined to be sold to a brothel? Despite her tearful pleas, no please, don't, she woke up in terror, realizing it was just a nightmare. Looking at the red double happiness characters pasted on the door, a wave of bitterness washed over her. She had accepted the Gu family's betrothal gifts. The wedding date was set, and even the mandarin duck wedding quilt was finished. There was no turning back. Just then, An Hong entered to wake her. Miss, it's time to change into your wedding dress. Seeing her frightened appearance, An Hong asked worriedly, Miss, what's wrong? You're covered in sweat. Lost in her own thoughts, she mused, I've never believed in ghosts or spirits, but this dream felt so real, it's unsettling. Is Miss too stressed? An Hong inquired with concern. Brushing aside the concern, she ordered, I'm fine. Help me change. She knew there was no point in voicing her fears. Marrying Gu Jiuxi was inevitable. She couldn't let a dream ruin this arranged marriage. Lunok Nu gazed at the beautiful woman in the mirror. Even in her sadness, she couldn't help but admire the dress, this wedding dress. An Hong said sadly, Miss, you embroidered this wedding dress yourself, stitch by stitch, and you said that after marrying young Master Deep. She stopped abruptly, realizing her slip-up. The first madam, standing behind them, sternly reminded her, don't mention the Deep family again. The young maid was startled that I apologize, madam, Mississippi. The mention of Deep then brought an inexplicable wave of sadness over her. She recalled their first meeting, arranged by the Deep family's young miss. "Brother, this is Lunok Nu, my close friend." He gave her a devastatingly charming smile in return. "Greetings, sister. My name is Deepthian." At the time, I could only stammer a greeting back, but ever since I was 8 years old, the first time I knew I had to marry someone, in my heart I thought that person is Deepthian. Even though Deepthian and I only exchanged a few words as children, and I haven't seen him since he went to Bach Low Academy at 13. I don't know if I truly love Deepthian, or if it's just the years of expectation I've held in my heart. Either way, he's the person I've persisted with the longest, the one I've been most serious about. But now, she's made up her mind. I won't give up. She had once wholeheartedly wanted to marry Deepthian, putting in so much effort, but in the end, it was all for naught. Now she was about to marry the man she hated most in the world. Her mother, seeing her daughter's heartbreak, felt immense pain that if you were a man, you could break off the engagement, but unfortunately, you're a woman. You're suffering, mother understand it all. It's mother who is useless, unable to help you. Hearing her mother's words, her strongest defenses finally crumbled. She burst into tears, burying her face in her mother's embrace. Tears streamed down her face on her wedding day, her mouth continuously calling out, "Mother, mother." The two held each other tightly, seeking solace in each other's arms. After crying her heart out, she lifted her head, wiping away the remaining tears, and said resolutely, "Mother, it's all right. Don't be sad. They say it's good luck to cry when you get married." I just cried a little. She looked at the scattered items in front of her and gestured for Hong to continue. "Come on, let's do the makeup." "It's all right." Lunok Nu raised her head, smiling as she wiped away the lingering tears at the corners of her eyes, comforting the first madam. "Mother, it's all right. Don't be sad. They say it's good luck to cry a little when you get married." I just cried a little. Looking at the scattered makeup on the table, she immediately instructed Hong, "Come on, let's do the makeup." "It's all right." The first madam looked at her with heartache. "I couldn't help you with anything. Don't worry about me." "I'm not worried. If you want to cry, just cry. I won't worry." Her once naturally rosy lips were now adorned with crimson lipstick. Her mother carefully placed the heavy bridal headdress upon her head, a symbol of the burdens she would carry from now on. She carefully advised, "Nok Nu, after you enter the Ko family, you can only rely on yourself. Mother will be waiting for you outside." After her wedding attire and makeup were complete, she calmly sat on the bed, waiting for her groom to arrive. Cove Q2 barged through the door without hesitation. He then tossed the red silk ball for her to catch. "Hurry up and follow me." Looking at him like that, she couldn't help but think, "You'd think we were eloping. I won't argue with you on this auspicious day." Lost in thought, she hadn't taken more than a few steps when she tripped on the doorstep. The pain shooting up from her foot made her lose her balance. Fortunately, Q2 quickly turned back and caught her in his arms, though he still chided her. Tripping while walking, how troublesome. Knowing her misstep, Lunok Nu didn't bicker with him as she usually would, instead softly saying, "Thank you." This unusual gentleness caught him off guard, and he stammered an explanation. I was afraid you'd fall and make my family the laughingstock of the city." Despite his harsh words, he still caringly reminded her, "There's another step ahead. Be careful." His concern brought a flicker of happiness to her heart. This Q2, his words and actions are so different. The day she was married into the Gu family coincided with the day the frangipani blossoms blanketed a corner of the street in white, beautifully accenting her red bridal palanquin. Once he helped her settle inside the palanquin, excited shouts erupted from outside. "The bride is in the palanquin. Heave ho! The young master of the Gu family is taking a bride. Wedding. Congratulations to Master Gu." In stark contrast to the leisurely pace of the bridal palanquin, a group of horsemen on the other side galloped by in a hurried manner. Lunok Nu, who had been relaxing with her eyes closed inside the palanquin, suddenly heard a shout from outside. "Eldest young master, slow down." She immediately opened her eyes, curious to see who it was. "Eldest young master, slow down." There were many eldest young masters in Duong Chao, but for some reason, she desperately wanted to see if it was him. So she lifted the curtain. Indeed, outside was the person she had been longing to see. La Deepthian. He's back. After confirming it was him, she was stunned for a moment. Sitting in the palanquin, she calculated, Deep Thien had just finished the regional examinations. Logically, he should rest for a few days. So why did he come back early? He wouldn't. She resolutely covered her face with her fan, reminding herself, don't think about it anymore. This path is too dangerous now. If I go over there, Miss Lu's life will end and a new one will begin. Arriving at the Gu family's gate, the matchmaker called out in a loud voice, the groom and bride, please alight from the palanquin. The two entered the ancestral hall, following the matchmaker's instructions step by step. First, they bowed to heaven and earth. So Van Song came forward with a cup of wine to offer congratulations. Happy wedding, happy wedding. May your happiness last forever. Tran Tam also cheerfully joined in. I never thought you'd be the first of us three brothers to get married. But he just glanced away. Scoffing, he muttered, it's not like I wanted this. By this time, it was late at night. Seeing that she hadn't rested, and Hong urged her, Miss, you haven't eaten anything since early morning. Would you like something to eat? Young Master Gu is entertaining guests, and I don't know when he'll be back. But Lu Nok Nu firmly replied no. The bride cannot lower her fan. Lowering the round fan is not auspicious. I can't even eat on my wedding day. And Hong, taking advantage of a moment when no one was paying attention, whispered in her ear, I saw eldest young master deep outside today. But before she could finish, she was interrupted, and Hong, be careful. I'm married into the Gu family now. I'm a member of the Gu family. Yesterday's matters are over. If someone were to overhear, it wouldn't be good. A knock came from outside. Knock, knock, knock. She couldn't help but look over curiously, wondering if it was Gu Q Tuesday. Unexpectedly, Deep Van appeared at the door, ordering the servants to leave. Madame Gu told me to come and keep the bride company. You may all leave. Seeing the person before her, she couldn't help but widen her eyes in surprise. Van Ni. Deep Van walked to the bedside and spoke to her softly. Now that there's no one else here, just me with you, you can put down your fan. You can cover it up again when Gu Q2 arrives later. However, Lu Nok Nu resolutely refused. The rules cannot be broken. We can talk like this. Deep Van didn't give up that you're always talking about rules, but you're more ambitious than anyone. You're so inconsistent, you'll suffer later. She choked back a retort, wanting to speak but hesitating. I couldn't help but feel a little sad. Leaving now, I'm already married to someone else. I asked about Deep Thien's situation. It didn't seem very good. Who knew that before I could even speak, Deep Van had already brought it up. That's right. My brother heard the news of your engagement with the Gu family and returned earlier than planned. You? No. Nok Nu? Don't blame my brother for this matter. He heard about the arranged engagement within the family. But later, when the Gu family came to formally propose to my grandmother, well, it was off. After all, the Gu family isn't easy to get along with, and you know my grandmother's personality. As she listened to her close friend's comfort, her previous thoughts solidified, and tears of frustration welled up. A prestigious family like the Deep family would absolutely not allow their eldest son to marry a woman who had been previously engaged. Even if they truly wanted to compete with the Gu family, it certainly wouldn't be for an ordinary woman like Lu Nok Nu. So, from the beginning, I didn't hold out hope for the Deep family. But my brother didn't think that way. He said a gentleman keeps his word, and the Deep family should formally address the matter with the Gu family. Old Master Gu is a reasonable man and wouldn't use his influence to bully others. That's why he came back this time. After her long explanation, Lu Nok Nu simply uttered 3 words, but it's too late. Deep Van continued to console her. Since things are this way, marrying Gu Q2 isn't necessarily a bad thing. My brother, while seemingly good, is actually a cold person. His heart and mind are set on his studies. Being his wife would be very hard. Gu Q2, although not as refined, has both power and influence. Most importantly, he likes you, willing to buy you a box filled with every lipstick from the lipstick shop. Everyone admires that. Nok Nu, don't hate my brother, and don't be sad. Live well in the future. Okay. After listening, she replied indifferently, don't worry, I've thought it through. That's good. Deep Van leaned her head on Lu Nok Nu's shoulder and sighed. I haven't slept well for a while because of this. I was afraid you'd hate my family, hate my brother, and that you wouldn't live well. I was afraid you wouldn't care about me anymore. We grew up together, closer than sisters. Don't distance yourself from me because of this. Her heartfelt words only received 2 words in return, I won't. Not wanting to hear anymore, she made an excuse to change the subject. Van, I'm a little tired. Could you let me rest for a bit? She thought Deep Van would linger, but in the next second, she was gone. Then rest. I'll go out first. At this moment, the tears she had been holding back streamed down. If it had never happened, it would be fine. But the person I was so close to being with, young Master Deep, originally wanted to marry me. How can I be resigned to this? I hate the Gu family for ruining the work of half my life. I hate Gu Q2's childishness, just because of his words. If it's not her in this life, I won't marry. The marriage agreement I painstakingly built for so long was destroyed. But I can't deny that being fiercely protected by Jiang Nu from my weak father and cruel second concubine, along with Gu Q2's attentiveness, makes it impossible for me to hate him. I don't know who to blame for my fate. I can only secretly hide these tears behind my round fan. But as a woman, where do I have a choice? If I'm marrying, then I'll settle into the position of Madame Gu peacefully. No need for the Liu family's theatrics. Having thought this, she resolutely sat on the bed, waiting for her groom to return. After receiving guests, Gu Q2 was forcibly confined to his room by his father's men. That I won't go in. You old fool, let me out. Let me out. Gu Lang Hoa, if you have the guts, let me out. I'm married now, what else are you doing? Are you determined to drive me to my death? Faced with his son's defiance, he only spat out 2 words, shut up. Then he ordered the guards outside to board up the door, board up the windows too. If she dares to step outside today, break her legs. Watch her closely. Gu Q2 continued to fume and curse. Damn it, that old swindler. He said we'd get married and that's it. Why is he locking me up? He broke his promise. Let me out, or you'll regret it. However, after all the shouting, there was nothing but a terrifying silence from outside. He slumped helplessly onto the dining table, not forgetting to curse. Damn it, that damned old man. He was drinking tea when he suddenly noticed Lu Nok Nu still holding the round fan, covering her face. The sight startled him so much he sprayed tea out of his mouth. He stammered, what are you doing sitting there with the fan? Aren't you asleep yet? She gently replied, the groom hasn't arrived. How could Nok Nu dare to sleep before the ceremony? He immediately retorted, can't you just put down yourself? But his words didn't sway her. She continued to stare at him from behind the fan, making him afraid to make any sudden moves. Finally, he couldn't hold back his curiosity any longer. Are you playing dead? Don't scare me. In the middle of the night, go to sleep. She said just one sentence that turned him to stone. The groom hasn't shared the nuptial cup with me yet. He suddenly turned around and seriously asked her, are you truly willing to marry me? Gu Q2 asked seriously, are you truly willingly marrying me? Seeing her silent, he continued. He bitterly mocked himself. Actually, I know none of the young ladies in Yangzhou like me. I don't want them to like me either. In this life, I only want to marry someone who likes me, someone I can live with in harmony. Hearing this, she asked so. He brought a cup of wine over to her and sincerely said, Miss Liu, I know you're a clever woman, so I want to make a deal with you. He began to pour out his heart. I know you don't love me. How about this? I'll let you manage the household finances. You can use the money to start a business. Once you're independent, if you find someone you like, or if I find someone I like, we'll get a divorce, all right? His words only surprised Lu Nok Nu further. He didn't wait for her reply and continued. I used to think that women care about their reputation, about marrying well, about living a good life. But if you can make a good life for yourself, then what other people say won't matter, right? You only live for a few decades. No one should wrong themselves. He smiled at her. Miss Liu, once you become a businesswoman, you'll surely meet someone who truly loves you. And if you don't, living alone isn't so bad. And I might meet a girl I like, and I definitely won't wrong her. Of course, if I don't, that's fine too. I can manage on my own. Lu Nok Nu stammered, interrupting him, her eyes brimming with tears. If you don't like me, why did you laugh at me? Hearing her question, he angrily slammed his wine cup on the table. I should be asking you that. If you don't like me, why did you agree to marry me? You agreeing to this marriage has put us both in a difficult position. If I don't marry you, you'll die. But if I do marry you, I'll be burying my life. I can't just sit here and wait for death. He leaned closer, whispering softly, we can negotiate this. I believe one day you'll agree to a divorce. Gu Q2 had barely finished speaking when she slapped him hard across the face. Tears streamed down her delicately made-up face. Get out. Get out of here. He had never been struck by a woman before, so when she slapped him, he froze. For a moment, Lu Nok Nu, overcome with resentment, collapsed onto the bed, sobbing with regret. Why did I marry someone like him? What he said sounds easy, but if I really divorce him right after the wedding, I'll be drowned in the gossip. I can't explain why I wanted to marry him in the first place. If he's really thinking about divorcing me, he won't just let me go. He'll definitely make my life a living hell. My mother will be a cautionary tale. Now, not only can I not marry Deepthian, but even Co Q2 wants a divorce. What future do I have left? Co Q2, seeing his new bride suddenly burst into tears, didn't know how to comfort her. Hey, I'm the one who got hit. Why are you crying? Unexpectedly, his words only made her cry louder. Stop crying. I won't say anything else. You're giving me a headache. Then he changed tack, trying to soothe her. All right. Have you eaten anything yet? He looked at the food laid out on the table and thought to himself, I got beaten by my father early this morning and then forced to drink at the banquet. I haven't eaten anything either. And who knows how long Lunok Nu will keep crying. Maybe I should eat something first. Picking up a plate of light refreshments, he muttered, I don't understand how someone can cry like this. She likes Deepthian. I even showed her the way there, and she doesn't appreciate my kindness. Co Q2 carefully brought the plate of pastries over to her and coaxed, stop crying. Have something to eat. You'll feel better after eating. But she coldly dismissed him. Get lost. His brows furrowed in impatience. He slammed the plate of pastries down, roaring angrily. Why are you even crying? Weren't you just saying we could get divorced in the future? I'll arrange a way out for you then. What are you afraid of? The person you like isn't deep. He trailed off, as if realizing something, a ridiculous thought suddenly popping into his head. He pointed at himself, asking excitedly, wait a minute. Don't tell me you like me? After all these years, someone finally likes me. Then, blushing, he continued narcissistically, I understand your feelings, but I'm not into someone like you. If you want money, that's easy. But if you want my heart, that's a different story. Co Q2 regained his composure and sat down beside her, thinking smugly. Before, I was angry that Lunok Nu only married me for money. Now, after knowing she's not after my money but me, it's quite a headache. The kind of woman I like is completely different from those in this world. I like the dominant type, the kind that captivates you at first glance, the kind that would dare to force a man into marriage. But Lunok Nu, she's too ordinary, too conventional. Even if she sacrificed a lot to marry me, I can't reciprocate her feelings. He kept these thoughts to himself, only scooting closer and reassuring her, stop crying. We have a long future ahead of us. Take your time to think things through. Although I don't like you, you're married to me now. My parents will treat you well. Don't worry. Unexpectedly, she snapped, I didn't marry your parents. He took out a thick wad of banknotes, stuffed them into her arms, and carefully instructed, there, you're tired from crying. Hold on to this money and go to sleep. Tomorrow, after you've rested, I'll take you shopping. Love is troublesome. Only money truly matters. You're intelligent, so you surely understand this, right? He delicately removed the heavy hair ornaments from Lunok Nu's head, then carefully pulled the blanket over her. After finishing, he wearily wiped the sweat from his brow, sighing, why does a man like me have to deal with such a complicated and burdensome emotional problem? It's exhausting. Co Q2 looked at his bride, sleeping soundly on the bed, clutching the banknotes, and a thought sprang to mind. No, I can't resign myself to this fate. I have to rebel against Ko Lang Hoa. I have to make Lunok Nu give up on me. I will use my actions to demonstrate my rebellion. The guards outside, hearing the commotion, hurriedly removed the wooden planks to check on the situation. Young master, they called, but he had taken the opportunity to escape through another route, causing the two guards to shout in alarm, no, it's no good. The young master has run away. Dejected, he sought out his two good friends, who showered him with congratulations. Congratulations, congratulations to you and your bride. But he coldly brushed them off. Stop congratulating me. I feel like my head is about to explode. Tran Tam, seeing his continued gloom, asked, it's just marrying a woman. It's not a big deal. Doesn't Lunok Nu just want the status of Madam Ko? Give it to her and be done with it. Then we can continue to have fun, and you won't have to worry. Ko Q2 sighed mysteriously. No, if she just wanted the Ko family's money, it would be fine. The problem is, I learned last night that she didn't come for the money. Tran Tam, his curiosity piqued, asked, then what did she come for? He blushed as he confessed, she came for me. She likes me. Upon hearing this, Tran Tam couldn't help but spit water in his face. What? After seeing So Van Song frozen in shock, he hurriedly grabbed a cloth and wiped his face apologetically. Sorry. I was just so surprised. Ko Q2 propped his chin on his hand and said sadly, I was also shocked when I found out. If she wanted money, it would be easier, but she wants this heart of mine. I don't know what to do. So Van Song pointed to himself to confirm. So, if you came here today, it's because you want us, your two brothers, to figure out how to make her lose interest. He nodded in affirmation. The sooner she loses interest, the sooner she lets go, preventing her from falling deeper and making things less awkward for me. So Van Song mischievously suggested, this is easy. Making a woman lose interest is simple. This piqued Ko Q2's curiosity. Tell me how. He winked. 3 days at the Xian Fong brothel, and I guarantee she'll lose interest. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. Xian Fong brothel. Last time I went was for Duong Van Suong's birthday, I think. I even took a picture of the courtesan on her first night and gave it to him, though I wasn't interested. Soon, a mischievous glint appeared in his eyes. But for a woman, what could be more terrifying than her husband going to a brothel the day after their wedding? And Koleng Hoa, wouldn't that make him furious? So he immediately agreed, all right, let's go to the Xian Fong brothel. The next morning, as the sunlight filtered through the wedding lanterns hanging by the door, a voice called from within the room, Mississippi. And Hong, seeing her mistress clutching the banknotes, her eyes dark and her face gloomy, anxiously inquired, Miss, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? When Hong discovered that Lu Nok Nu was still wearing her wedding attire, she became even more worried. Miss, please say something. What did the young master do to you last night? Why are you still wearing your wedding clothes? Did you two not consummate the marriage? Lu Nok Nu seemed to whimper to the young maid. And Hong, he wants to leave me. Her words startled the maid. What? Lu Nok Nu buried her face in her lap and burst into tears. He said it. He said he doesn't like me, that later there will be someone he does like. He wants to treat that person well, so sooner or later, he'll leave me. He told me to prepare myself. And Hong, what should I do? What should I do if I'm abandoned or not loved in the Gu family? What will happen to my mother? This time, my mother personally prepared the betrothal gifts for me, bringing so much of her wealth here. If the Gu family doesn't protect us, what will happen to my mother when Trung Noyet Ni regains power? The more she thought, the more panicked she became, tears streaming down her lifeless face. And Hong didn't know how to comfort her, so she hurriedly knelt down and hugged her legs. Miss, the young master must be joking. He doesn't know how good you are yet. Once he realizes, he'll love and cherish you. How could he leave you? By now, Lu Nok Nu had run out of tears and couldn't speak. The maid continued to offer advice. Now that things have come to this, miss, don't be discouraged. And Hong will go with you to offer tea to Madame Gu and Lord Gu. Let's make a good impression on them. Maybe there's still a chance to turn things around. After all, it was the Gu family who proposed, and Madame Gu was very pleased with you. But Lu Nok Nu no longer had the strength to face anyone. Just say I'm sick. I'm really tired now. The maid furrowed her brows and softly replied, Yes, miss, I'll go inform Lord Gu and Madame Gu right away. She couldn't help but feel sorry for her mistress. No matter how intelligent and clever she was still just a 15-year-old girl. But not long after and Hong left, the voice of a servant reporting from outside echoed through the house. Lord Gu, it's not good. The young master has gone to the Xian Fong brothel. Upon hearing this, Lu Nok Nu felt all her strength drain away. Xian Fong brothel? The most famous pleasure house in Duong Chao. 2 birds were chirping peacefully on a branch, but their tranquility was soon shattered by the loud cries of the servants. Lord Gu, it's not good. The young master has gone to the Xian Fong brothel. Upon hearing this, Koleng Hoa angrily roared, That brat, he truly doesn't respect anyone anymore. And Hong, standing nearby, also felt sorry for her mistress. On only the 2nd day after the wedding, he went to a brothel. This playboy, even for a libertine, was far too excessive. He was so furious that he grabbed his ancestral cane, intending to find Ko Q Tuesday. Let's see how I deal with you. But Madame Gu hurriedly stopped him. Lord Gu, he's a married man now. You can't keep controlling him like a child. Hearing her words, he became even angrier. If I don't control him, won't he just fly away completely? Whose son abandons his new bride and goes to a brothel the day after their wedding? It's outrageous. But she simply said softly, Haven't you hit him enough these past 2 years? Isn't he going to the brothel this time out of anger at you? He's been prejudiced against this marriage from the start. If you intervene on Nok Nu's behalf and bring him back to punish him, they'll only resent each other. How will they live together afterward? Although furious, because his wife had spoken, he had to suppress his anger. Fine, then you take care of it. Let's see what brilliant solution you have. Zhang Nu calmly replied, the problem doesn't lie with us, but with Nak Nu. Then she turned to Hong, who was standing opposite her, and asked, is your young mistress available to see guests now? The young maid hesitated, unable to speak. Well, Madame Gu interjected, understanding the situation. If she won't come to see me, then I'll go see her. Madame Gu proceeded to Lu Yunu's room without hesitation. You knew, she said, as the bride was about to get out of bed and bow. Madame Gu stopped her. I heard you weren't feeling well, so I came to see you. Are you feeling any better? There's no need for such formalities in our house if you're unwell. She sat down on the edge of the bed and spoke gently, as if confiding in her. What happened between you and Jiu-Tu last night? Did he say something wrong to you? Seeing that Lu Yunu remained silent, she continued softly, before coming to propose marriage, I made inquiries. Everyone said you were a well-mannered young lady, observant of all proprieties. Why is it that now, having married into our family, it seems otherwise? At this point, Lu Yunu decided to be forthright. Madame Gu, she said, I never wanted to marry him. Madame Gu was stunned, as if struck by lightning. But when we came to propose, your concubine mother said you admired Geo Tuesday. Lu Yunu gave a tired, derisive laugh. Doesn't Madame Gu know my family situation? How could you believe anything my concubine mother says? Madame Gu was puzzled, but your father was there, and your family to your... She was about to continue when a thought struck her that I know there's unrest within the Lu family. But I heard that even though Lu Xian favors his concubine over your mother, he doesn't mistreat his children. All these years, you've been raised and provided for like a legitimate daughter. And parents always have deep affection for their firstborn. How could Lu Xian allow his concubine to manipulate your marriage without intervening? Suspicious, she turned and asked, so let me ask you, was there a betrothal between your family and the Yi family? Lu Yunu calmly replied, there was an intention to betroth. Old madam, Yi personally came to my house to propose the match, and my family agreed. We were just waiting for young Master Yi to return from the provincial exams to formally propose. Hearing this, even Madame Gu's normally composed demeanor crumbled. This is preposterous, she exclaimed angrily, as so much effort was put into arranging this marriage, and the son doesn't want it, the bride doesn't want it, and we've even offended the Yi family. She looked sorrowfully at the listless, vacant expression on Lu Yunu's face and couldn't help but blame herself. And oh wonder Yunu had been acting like this. But what's done is done. They're probably even more distraught than we are. We need to find a solution. She changed her form of address. Miss Lu, this was due to our family's negligence. We didn't thoroughly investigate your betrothal with the Yi family. I apologize for this mistake and ask for your forgiveness. Lu Yunu simply bowed her head sadly. Such a private matter isn't something outsiders would know. You were kind and couldn't have known the truth. I don't blame you, madam. Madame Gu, however, was even more anxious. But now that this has happened, what do you intend to do, Miss Lu? Clutching her wedding attire, Lu Yunu's voice trembled. The marriage has been finalized, the ceremony completed. Am I supposed to let Gu Jiu-Tu just abandon me? I've come to the Gu family. I just want to live a peaceful life. What other choice do I have? Her voice rose uncontrollably as she continued. It's not that I don't want this. It's Gu Jiu-Tu who doesn't. Madame Gu, on our wedding night, he said he wanted to abandon me. Now, he's nowhere to be found. Madam, how do you expect me to go on living? I had already accepted my fate. Marrying someone like him, I didn't dare to hope for much in this life, but at least he should let me live in peace. If he truly abandons me, isn't he forcing me into a dead end? Speaking of this, the tears that had dried up since last night began to flow again like a stream. Madame Gu, heartbroken, asked, so you knew he wants to help you find Gu Jiu-Tu, right? At this, Lu Yunu retorted, find him, and then what? Find him, and he leaves again. Find him, and he leaves again. Repeating this cycle, do I have to follow him and become a laughingstock for the entire Yangzhou? Let be. I accept it. He is just that kind of person. She trembled, hugging her thin frame, her voice softening as if pleading with Madame Gu. Madame Gu, please just let me stay at the Gu residence. Give me a meal. That's all I ask. I don't want to scheme anymore. I don't want to care anymore. I can't bear it anymore. I can't bear being toyed with by fate time and time again, this constant instability. I thought everything was within my grasp. I thought the bright path was right before my eyes, but suddenly I've fallen into the abyss. I've been so careful all these years, Yet in the end, I've still come to this point. I don't want to fight. I don't even dare to fight anymore. Madame Gu patiently consoled her. Miss Lu, stop crying when you've cried enough. After the tears, getting back on your feet is the right thing to do. I know you have many hardships in your heart, but when someone falls, if they stand up, they can still continue on their path. If you lie down and don't get up, then this is where your path ends. Lu Yunu replied miserably, who doesn't know this principle? But Madame Gu, I can't see this path. Madame Gu offered her sincere assessment that I know you're not satisfied with Gu Jiu Tuesday. You feel he's a playboy, good for nothing, and compared to Yi Shuren, he's indeed not a good husband. But my son is inherently kind. He's never done anything against his conscience. Except for his fondness for gambling, he's moderate in everything else. The rumors outside about him spending a fortune at brothels, that's just him spending money for his friends. He never gets close to women. What he wants in a wife is a lifelong partner. Compared to many men these days, at least in terms of affection, he won't treat his wife badly. Lu Yunu only turned her face away in misery. True affection is sweet for the one you love, but poison for the one who doesn't love you. Now that he wants to abandon me, isn't it also because of his sincere affection? So, I wish he were a little more frivolous, at least leaving me a way out. Jiang Ruo carefully dabbed the tears on Lu Yunu's face with a handkerchief. There are so many marriages in this world arranged by parents and matchmakers. They all become husband and wife, and day by day, living together, feelings develop. We felt he liked you because you're the only person he ever said he liked. You're also the girl he wanted to marry. Hearing this, Lu Yunu was a little stunned. Madame Gu continued, even if it's a misunderstanding, in terms of affection, you're already a step ahead of other girls. I'm not telling you to try to please him, but at least give him a chance. First, get to know him, acknowledge him, and then you'll have a way forward. But if you plan to lock yourself in this room for the rest of your life, you're only making things difficult for yourself. That way, your resentment will never end. Your whole life will pass by just like this. I don't expect you and my son to fall in love, but I hope that when you come to the Gu family, you will live sincerely. Anything I can do to help you, I will. What do you think about Jiu-Tu going to the Spring Breeze Pavilion today? Can you tell me? Just take this step. Lu Yunu gritted her teeth, repeating the words Spring Breeze Pavilion. Her face darkened as she turned to Madame Gu. What if I want Madame to bring Gu Jiu-Tu back immediately and punish him severely? Madame Gu chuckled at her bluntness but didn't refuse. All right, anything else? Her mood slightly improved, and she asked curiously, Madame Gu, he's your son. I don't understand why you're helping me like this. Madame Gu replied calmly, I've already said I want to build relationships, not animosity. Jiu-Tu is wrong, and I won't be biased. The Gu family has accepted you as their daughter-in-law, and I will try my best to steer this marriage in the right direction. As long as you're willing to live sincerely, Jiu-Tu's father and I are both generous. You don't need to worry about formalities. Whether you want to manage the household, handle business, or read, I can teach you. Knowing Jiu-Tu's character, if he doesn't abandon you, he certainly won't take a concubine. You'll be in charge of the inner courtyard, and it will definitely be peaceful. Him going to the Spring Breeze Pavilion after the wedding was, firstly, due to the misunderstanding that you and his father were colluding. He did it to deliberately provoke his father. Secondly, he doesn't understand your suffering, but you just need to talk to him, and he'll take responsibility and find a solution for you. After this long speech, Madame Gu asked, So, Miss Lu, do you still need me to bring Jiu-Tu back? Lu Yunu lowered her eyes and replied, No, it's all right. Madame Gu then stood up and patted her shoulder, kindly offering advice. Don't rush to reject this marriage. At least try to understand what kind of person Jiu-Tu is first. The bright sunlight outside seemed to intensely penetrate the room, making her heart burn like fire. And Hong opened the door and entered, softly calling, Mississippi. Lu Yunu interrupted whatever the young girl was about to say. Let me think about it. Clusters of roses bloomed vibrantly in front of the house. Old Master Gu hummed a tune while casually feeding the birds, and Madame Jiang sipped fragrant tea in her chair. Suddenly, an announcement from outside startled him, causing the birds to fly away in fright. Master, madam, the young madam has arrived. He quickly sat up straight in his chair and anxiously asked his wife, I have a restless feeling in my heart. I'm worried, but she reminded him, It's the children's affair. We should just listen and not interfere. Lu Yunu strode in, wearing a refreshing jade green outfit. Her face no longer held the dejection of her wedding day, but instead radiated a brilliance like the blooming roses outside. I haven't been feeling well these past few days, so I couldn't come and greet you. I hope father and mother will forgive me. Old Master Gu, feeling indignant on her behalf, wanted to seek justice for her. This isn't your fault. It's all Gio2's. That impudent brat. Just wait until I get my hands on him. I'll definitely make him apologize to you. I won't let you suffer this injustice in vain. Unexpectedly, she didn't complain but smiled, smoothing things over. Father, you're joking. The young master is innocent and naive, and I understand that. I'm already part of the Gu family. As long as the young master is well and happy, even if he likes to wander around, it's not a big deal. He looked at his wife in alarm, asking, "What did you say to her? She's more frightening like this than when she's angry. My intuition tells me your son is finished." But Madame Jiang calmly replied, "Don't jump to conclusions. Let's hear what Yunu has to say." Seeing the elders silent, Lu Yunu politely began, "I've come today, firstly, to greet father and mother. Secondly, I want to understand the situation in the household and know if there's anything I should pay attention to while living in the Gu family." Old Master Gu replied casually, "Actually, there's nothing much. As long as you and Gio2 live harmoniously, and in your free time, urge him to study harder. That's all." She then asked with curiosity, "Father means you wish for the young master to study and improve himself?" Contrary to the outward appearance of peace, the atmosphere in the room now became somewhat tense. Lu Yunu wondered, "Mother, have you spoken to the young master about this before?" She thought, if they had such intentions earlier with their capabilities, could Gu Gio2 have become what he is now? Old Master Gu awkwardly explained, "Back then was different. Before, we only hoped he would live a happy life. But now it's different. Now, we hope he'll have the ability to protect himself, even without us." Hearing this, she couldn't help but ask curiously, "Do you mean something has happened within the family?" Madame Jiang patiently explained, "The Gu family, the wealthy merchants in Yangzhou, have their roots in the eastern capital. My brother is currently serving as Minister of Personnel in the eastern capital. Currently, aside from the instability in the eastern capital, His Majesty hasn't held court for 3 months. My brother originally intended to bring Gio2 to the eastern capital, arrange a minor official position for him, and then recommend him to Her Royal Highness the Princess to pave a path for his future, but we don't want Gio2 to be caught up in this." Lu Yunu silently calculated. His Majesty hasn't held court for 3 months. It probably won't be long before there's a struggle for the throne. But the current emperor has few children and has long established the crown prince. There doesn't seem to be any struggle for succession. So what is the Gu family afraid of? She recalled her dream that day. The Gu family suspected of conspiring with Prince Liang, the imperial edict to investigate and confiscate their property, resisting the decree, death without pardon. In that dream, Gu Jiu-Tu strongly resisted the powerful. Wang Rong, you say the Gu family colluded with Prince Liang. Do you have evidence? It's clear your family is envious of the Gu family's wealth and is looking for an excuse to seize it. But how can an old fox like Wang Rong lose? What, there was no evidence. Prince Liang rebelled, and the world was in chaos. Even Fan Xian, a military governor in Yuzhou, dared to declare himself king. Our Wang family is just going with the flow. She furrowed her brow in tension. Turning to the two elders, she asked anxiously, I wonder what my brother-in-law's stance is in the eastern capital? Does he have any connections with any of the princes? Madame Jiang didn't hide anything. My brother will still side with the emperor. He has no connections with the imperial relatives. But he does have a niece who is a concubine of Prince Liang. Hearing this name, she became even more frightened. That dream, it's the second time. If the first time was just a coincidence, then this second time, is it really just random? Her train of thought was suddenly interrupted by Madame Jiang's concerned voice. You knew. Don't stand for so long. You've just recovered and shouldn't overexert yourself. She nodded with difficulty. Thank you for your concern, mother. Then she sank back in her own thoughts. If that dream was real, how much longer can the Gu family last? If the Gu family falls, as Gu Jiutu's wife, will I be able to escape? She decided to share her concerns frankly with her in-laws. If there's trouble brewing within the family, and the situation isn't what it used to be, the young master's temperament truly needs to change. A man should at least have some skills to rely on. He must learn to be self-sufficient and not always depend on his parents. Old Master Gu listened, tiredly shaking his head. That's a given, but we didn't think so far ahead before. Now, if we try to control him, he certainly won't listen. He then placed the responsibility on Lu Yunu. Yunu, you've just joined our family. How everyone treats you in the future depends on the initial rules set. You must establish rules for him. Help us discipline him properly. But she also had her own worries. However, if his parents haven't been able to discipline him, how can I, his wife, manage it? Unexpectedly, he only needed her agreement. He then enthusiastically assured her, "Don't worry, I'll give you the support you need. I'll assign 20 of the most skilled guards in the residence to you. If he doesn't listen, you can have them bring him back for discipline." This made her slightly apprehensive, as she initially only intended to observe. Madame Jiang assumed her agreement, not letting her speak further and finding an excuse to subtly dismiss her. "You knew. You must be tired. Go back and rest. In the coming days, all matters big and small within the household will be entrusted to you. If there's anything you don't understand, just come and ask me. Once you're familiar, the household management will be entirely yours." Her words prompted Lu Yunu to rise and excuse herself. "I won't disappoint you, father and mother." She regained her usual radiant expression, reassuring them and making her own request. "I will certainly help him mature. Mother, I want to get acquainted with everyone in the household. Could you assign a wet nurse to assist me?" Madame Jiang immediately ordered someone. "Then I'll have Nurse Chun assist you for a while." Old Master Gu didn't want to be outdone by his wife and immediately called out, "Wang Shou." A strong, tall guard immediately appeared behind her. Old Master Gu continued, "Gather the most capable men in the residence. They are to take orders from the young madam. From now on, whatever the young madam says, you will follow. Don't let the young master bully the young madam." The guard promptly replied, "Your subordinate obeys." They left the main house and gathered in the rear courtyard of the Gu residence. More than 20 men lined up neatly, ready to obey Lu Yunu's commands. Now with Nurse Chun and Wang Shou backing her, she leisurely sipped her hot tea. Then, she calmly introduced herself. "From now on, I am your young madam. I hope everyone will take care of me. Mother has entrusted the household management to me, so I hope everything will be a bit more organized and clean, avoiding any disturbances to the young master's studies." She paused, then emphasized, "Do you understand?" The carefully selected group of guards below responded in unison. "Understood." She slowly stood up and formally announced, 7 days from now, I will issue new house rules, and everyone in the residence must abide by them. The first rule is that everything in the Gu residence must prioritize supporting the young master's studies. No one is allowed to pull the young master away for anything that would be detrimental to his learning. Do you understand? Initially, they were full of bravado, but upon hearing this, no one dared utter a word. Lu Yunu seemed to deliberately raise her voice. "Now, I will immediately bring the young master back. If necessary, I will use force. You will obey my commands. No retreating, no resisting. Remember, you must not only control yourselves, but also cooperate with all my instructions. Any disobedience or resistance will result in all of you being sold. Do you understand?" Madame Chun and Wang Shou stepped forward, bowed, and said, "Everything will be done according to the young madam's instructions." Only then did the guards behind them submit, bowing and saying, "We will obey the young madam's orders." From this moment on, with the power in her hands, everything she decided would be much easier. The peaceful outdoor scene contrasted sharply with the turbulent changes Lu Yunu was about to create. She raised her voice and assigned tasks. "Some of you go to the study first and buy everything a scholar needs, such as brushes, ink, inkstones, the 4 books, and the 5 classics." The guards replied in unison, "Yes." "The rest of you, gather all the miscellaneous books the young master used to read, the toys, the alcohol, everything that distracts him from his studies. Wait for me to return to deal with them. Also, block the hole in the wall surrounding the back courtyard, and move the ladder elsewhere. Hire workers to raise the wall, ensuring the young master cannot climb out. And Hong, find the young master's private funds and prepare a bath, hangover soup, and food for him." She personally went into the room to give detailed instructions. Also, prepare clothes. No patterns, no elaborate designs. These clothes are specifically for him to wear while studying. And Hong was stunned by the barrage of commands, but couldn't protest. Yes. Seeing her mistress's deathly serious expression, she quietly asked Wang Shou, "Is the young master still at the Spring Breeze Pavilion?" She was about to turn away when her attention was suddenly caught by a sword hanging in a corner of the room. She walked over and gently took it down. After drawing and inspecting the blade, she coldly ordered Wang's show, "Gather 40 men. Come with me." With that, she resolutely took the sword and walked out of the room. When she stepped down from her palanquin, guards with swords in hand were already positioned on both sides, standing before the Spring Breeze Pavilion, attracting many curious glances. Standing before the gate, she reminded herself, if I enter this Spring Breeze Pavilion today, my hard-earned reputation will be ruined. The Yi family will probably be relieved they didn't marry a useless woman like me. But I am married to Gu Jiu too, so I must forge a path for myself and my future. Only by forcing Gu Jiu to study and become an official will we have prestige and legal protection. He won't be able to discard me so easily. Only when he becomes an official can I become a respected madam, ensuring no one will look down on me or my mother. She tightened her grip on the hilt, raised the sword point commandingly, and walked forward. Everyone in the brothel was startled by her sudden appearance and quickly moved away, whispering amongst themselves, "Isn't that Miss Liu Yunu? What's she doing here? Isn't she here to catch Gu Jiu too?" Yi Shiren, sitting upstairs, heard the whispers mentioning his former fiancée and was curious, but he was a bit slow and missed seeing her. He could only speculate. Yunu was known for her composure. She wouldn't come to a place like this. Meanwhile, the madam was frantically trying to wake Gu Jiu Tuesday. "Young Master Gu, wake up. Your family is here." Not only did he not believe her, but he angrily shouted, "Leave me alone. Whatever it is, I'll deal with it later. Get out." He had barely finished speaking when Liu Yunu knocked on the door. "Husband, Gu Jiu Tuesday?" Only Gu Jiu too, sleeping soundly, was oblivious to everything, while the madam inside had turned pale with fear, drenched in cold sweat. When Yunu lost her patience, she kicked the door open and yelled, "Gu Jiu too, get up." Facing the furious, almost incandescent face of his new bride, the terrified madam fled for her life, not daring to look back. Hearing the commotion, Gu Jiu too, still bleary-eyed, grumbled, "So noisy. I said leave me." But when he saw the sharp blade of the sword at his throat, his eyes went wide, and all traces of sleepiness vanished. Liu Yunu gripped the hilt of the sword, her voice as cold as early winter snow. "Get up." He nervously pushed the sword away, tried to appease her. "Calm down. Let's talk about this." But she maintained her tone, sternly ordering, "Get up." Her serious demeanor left him no choice. Getting up, I'm getting up." Even after they returned home, she kept the sword in her hand as she spoke. "Not knowing when my husband would return, I came to fetch you." Gu Jiu too retorted indignantly, "Fetching me with a sword? Only you would think of that." Ignoring his sarcasm, she slammed the sword on the table, her quiet whisper carrying the weight of 1,000 pounds, making him jump. "Husband, you've been out for days. It's time to come home and study for the imperial examinations." He pointed at himself, dumbfounded, his jaw dropping. "What did you say?" "You want me to study?" Liu Yunu spoke to him earnestly. "Husband, you have 2 years until you reach the age for the preliminary examinations. You must think about your future. Your father is a wealthy merchant in Yangzhou, and his only wish is for you to succeed in the examinations." Gu Jiu too quickly interrupted her. Stop. I've heard this 1,000 times. "Look, Liu Yunu, I'm a victim in this marriage too. I can give you anything you want. From now on, let's each live our own lives. How about that?" She listened without revealing her thoughts. He poured tea into a cup, trying to reason with her. "You know what kind of person I am? What good will these lectures do?" He then offered her the cup with a conciliatory smile. "Now let's be practical. My family's wealth is enough for me to live comfortably for the rest of my life. Why should I bother studying? Let me tell you, our family business makes a net profit of 200,000 taels every year. Besides that, we have land and shops. You won't suffer any financial hardship. Let's both live freely and happily. How about that?" Liu Yunu calmly accepted the teacup, took a sip, then seriously questioned him, "But what if I don't choose that kind of life?" He looked bewildered, not understanding. "What do you mean?" Her voice rose sharply. "All that silver, relying only on a nameless rich person with no support. Do you think you can keep it?" He weakly replied, "Then there's no other way. If it really comes to that, we'll just go with the flow." Hearing this, she was so angry she nearly lost control, abandoning all decorum as she pressed him that you've lived a life of luxury. When the time comes, you could just close your eyes and pass away. But what about me? What about your parents? Have you ever considered us? Unexpectedly, even after saying this much, he still hadn't grasped the situation. That's fate. Don't overthink it. My parents will figure something out. Her hand, veins bulging, clenched around the hilt of her sword. Seeing this, Gugio too couldn't help but flinch. He hurriedly patted her shoulder, trying to soothe her. Don't be angry. Calm down, calm down. Her body trembled uncontrollably, her voice laced with reproach. Gugio too, she asked directly. Do you know I could have married Yishuren? Coincidentally, at that moment, Yishuren, out of curiosity, knocked on the door. Overhearing Lu Yunu's heartfelt words, he stood frozen outside, stunned. Oh, you know how much effort I put into the Yi family, to marry him. From before I was even 10 years old, I learned how to be someone the Yi family would adore. I read every book he read, copied every letter he sent to Yiyun, and memorized every rule of the Yi family. I even secretly learned the arts of music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, transforming myself into the ideal refined young lady. I worked so hard for so many years, thinking I was about to succeed. As she spoke, tears of grievance streamed down her cheeks. I was going to marry a desirable husband. This life, my whole life, I was going to have a good ending. I would live in mutual respect and loving harmony with my husband. But you, the Gu family, you ruined everything. Gugio too stood beside her, seeing her heartbreak, unsure what to do. All her pent-up frustration poured out as she shouted at him. It was you who said you wanted to marry me. Gugio too. You were arrogant, thinking everyone in the world is like you, unconcerned with public opinion. But a single jest from you ruined my entire life. This time, Gugio too truly felt remorse. He sincerely uttered 2 words, I'm sorry. But anger consumed her, and she slapped him, her voice bitter. What good is sorry? All those years of my effort, all those years of my planning, is a single apology from you enough? She furiously grabbed his collar, gritting her teeth, emphasizing each word. Gugio too, listen carefully. I don't care whether you want to or not. You made me your wife, and you will take responsibility for it. Everything I should have had, you will give me. We need a husband who can move mountains and shake the earth, someone who can shoulder the family's burdens, not someone like you who only knows how to eat, drink, and be merry, relying on his parents when things get tough. Whatever Yishuren can achieve, you must achieve as well. Every word she uttered was loud enough for all the patrons in the Spring Breeze Pavilion to hear clearly. He still hesitated, unable to give a definite answer. She resolutely held the sword to his throat once more, bluntly declaring, from today onwards, if you dare set foot in these frivolous pleasure houses, I won't kill you. I'll take this blade and slit my own throat right in front of the Gu family's gates. Do you hear me? He raised both hands in front of him, signaling that he had heard. His voice trembled slightly as he said, calm down, calm down. Yishuren, having heard the entire conversation from outside the door, breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to himself, it seems I don't need to worry about my sister, Yunu, being bullied by Gugio Tuesday. Now it seems more likely that Gugio too will be the one covered in blood at the Spring Breeze Pavilion today. But if he dies at the hands of his own wife, he'll have died in the right place. The good show was over, so he calmly turned and left, his worries now assuaged. Gugio too stared in terror at the blade pressed against his throat. He calculated, based on Lu Yunu's skills, I could probably grab the blade before she strikes. But in her current state, even without a blade, she'd use her life to argue this point with me. He glumly considered the possibility he least wanted to face. Could it be she likes Yishuren? So, to save his life, he decided to compromise. You put away your sword. Let's go home and talk. Hearing his assurance, Lu Yunu sheathed her sword. Her expression softened as she nodded in agreement. All right. Seeing her agreement, he turned to leave. Unexpectedly, Lu Yunu pulled him back, pressing the sword against his throat again, her face darkening. Where do you think you're going? He honestly replied, just to change my clothes. But she unceremoniously dragged him straight towards the exit. And no need. There are clothes prepared at home. Let's go. He looked down at his clothes with embarrassment and sighed. Do we really need to make such a fuss just to change clothes? Her pace was so brisk that he had to call out, you slow down. The onlookers immediately began to chatter. Oh, isn't that young Master Gu? He's been caught by his wife. Gugio too had never been so humiliated, but he stubbornly furrowed his brows and snapped. What are you looking at? Afraid of going blind? They quickly boarded the carriage outside the Spring Breeze Pavilion. He sat dejectedly inside, muttering, if you wanted to find me, you could have just found me. I wouldn't have refused. Why create such a scene? Where do I put my face? His complaints were bluntly countered. Face, you don't need it anymore. He was about to retort angrily, why wouldn't I? But she tossed a stack of books at him, silencing him. From today onwards, no more gallivanting. Study hard. When ye sure Anne's exam results are announced, however well he does, however many exams he takes, you can't fall behind him. Gu Jio too couldn't help but protest. Lu Yunyu, are you that obsessed with appearances? What does this exam performance have to do with me? She scowled and retorted, if I hadn't married you, I would be Madam Yi. He turned away sulkily. I can't compare to him. She doused him with a bucket of cold water. Figuratively speaking, can't win, can you? It's all right. I don't expect you to win, nor am I surprised by your shame. Regardless, you must read this book. No excuses. This time, he couldn't hold back and yelled, I won't read it. What can you do to me? I want to get out of the carriage. Suddenly, his yelling ceased because she had pointed a sword at him threateningly. Get out? If you get out of this carriage today, one of us will die. Either way, my life is ruined. After that, he became more obedient, only muttering to himself as he sat to the side, always talking about death. Why can't you say something auspicious? As soon as they arrived back at the Gu residence, he rushed inside, intending to complain to his parents. Father, mother, I'm being forced to death. Lu Yunyu didn't bother to stop him. She plucked a grape and nibbled on it, asking a maid beside her, does he usually exaggerate like this? The young maid giggled. The young master is always a bit dramatic. He clung to his mother's leg, lamenting, Father, mother, you must stand up for me. Lu Yunyu, she held knife to my throat and forced me to read. Jiang Nu soothed him, there, don't cry. You'll hurt your throat. Observing the scene, she thought to herself, I always thought my mother-in-law was a strong woman and my father-in-law a man of the world. Unexpectedly, they're like this in front of Gu Jio Tuesday. Now I understand where he gets his personality from. Gu Jio too, seeing her still scowling and seemingly threatening him, became frightened. Then he continued to whine to his mother. Mother, you must stand up for me. I won't read. I don't want to read. Reading gives me a headache. My whole body aches. I feel terrible. To his delight, she immediately agreed. No more reading. No more reading. Put away, put it away. I'll think of something. At this point, Lu Yu knew how to speak up. Mother, the young master is almost 18. He can't behave like a child. As parents, we must consider his future. Don't you agree? She bent down, placing a hand on her husband's shoulder, and spoke gently to his parents. Father, mother, please go and rest. I'll take my husband back. You don't need to worry. He looked at his mother with tear-filled eyes, pleading, Mother. Even his father, who was standing beside them, advised his wife, Nu Ni, we've given our word. Let you Nu manage this. She resolutely pushed her son away. Jio too, mother is doing this for your own good. With that said, the two of them fled, leaving Gu Jio too without any support. Father, mother! He felt his world crumble. It seemed no one could save him now. Lu Yunyu seized the opportunity, smiling brightly as she coaxed him. Husband, come now, let's read. Gu Jio too recoiled in fear. What have you done to my parents? Lu Yunyu calmly sat down, speaking seriously. Husband, I'm doing this for your own good. He knew he had no one to turn to, so he quickly knelt down and begged. No. Miss Lu Yunyu, my dear Yunyu, I was wrong. Anything but reading. I've been frail since childhood. Whenever I read, I get a headache, she added, and a stomachache, and aches all over, right? He nodded repeatedly. Ah, right. He thought she would show mercy, but she coldly replied, so what does that have to do with me? I only care about whether it's possible to make the imperial edict. Gu Jio too angrily stood up. Lu Yunyu, don't bully me too much. If you keep this up, I will. She calmly asked, you will do what? He didn't notice his parents eavesdropping behind the bookshelf and bluntly declared, I will divorce you. Madame Jiang hastily grabbed her walking stick, ready to charge out and give him a piece of her mind. This little brat. But Madame Gu stopped her. Let Yunyu handle it. Don't interfere. Lu Yunyu sternly asked, I'll ask you one last time. Will you go study? He gritted his teeth, forcing out each word. I will not study. Lu Yunyu naturally wasn't about to back down and immediately ordered, Wang Shou, drag him to the study for me. He, not seeing the guard behind him, smugly said, this is my house. How could Wang Shou possibly listen to you? No sooner had he finished speaking than two guards seized his arms, bowing their heads as they said, Young master, please forgive us. He howled in disbelief. Wang Shou, even you are betraying me. The imposing, bespectacled Wang Shou replied, "This is not betrayal. My master is now the young madam." Her subordinates unceremoniously shoved him into the study. "Young master, please." Gu Jiutu yelled toward the outside. "Hey, dragging me in here is one thing, but at least give me something to eat." The guard standing watch outside coldly reiterated the condition. "Young master, the young madam, said you must memorize the first chapter of the Analects before you can eat." Hearing this, he nearly exploded with frustration. "Damn it, let me starve to death then." He could only slump to the floor, clutching his rumbling stomach in misery. Not even a few minutes later, a tantalizing aroma wafted throughout the room, impossible to ignore. It was the fragrant smell of roasted lamb leg. Outside, the young madam and the servants were laughing merrily. "This lamb leg is crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Miss, try some." "Thank you, young madam, for the wine. The aroma is rich, and the aftertaste is sweet. Truly excellent wine." Inside the study, Gu Jiu too tried to maintain a brave front. "Humph, it's just roasted lamb leg. Who hasn't had that before?" However, his stomach was already protesting loudly. The smell was simply too enticing. His mouth watered. Is it really true that skipping a meal won't kill you? But, driven by his hunger, he resolved, "Fine, I'll study. Who's afraid? It's just one chapter of the Analects." The merrymaking outside continued until Gu Jiutu's voice suddenly cut through the air. "Lu Yunu, open the door." Seeming to realize the absurdity of his demand, he quickly amended it. "Just leave me the bone. I've memorized it." She walked to the study door and gently asked, "Is my husband hungry?" Inside, Gu Jiutu's face darkened. "I haven't eaten all day. What do you think?" She set her condition. "Then I'll open the door for you right away, but you must continue studying diligently outside. Only then can you eat. Do you agree?" He hastily agreed, so she would open the door. "All right, hurry up." The moment Lu Yunu opened the door, he darted out like a racehorse towards the table, grabbing the lamb leg. He devoured it while holding out his bowl for a servant to fill with wine, all the while loudly reciting the chapter he had memorized. After finishing, he slammed his bowl down with a loud clang and pointed at himself proudly. "See? Pretty impressive, huh? Worship me?" Although she was happy, she couldn't help but worry. Like a child who hadn't grown up yet, having achieved a small accomplishment, she rushed to boast. He thought everything was settled, so he casually turned around to leave, not forgetting to announce, "All right, I'm going to sleep." At this moment, she softly called out, "Husband." As soon as he heard her voice, his whole body trembled involuntarily in waves of fear. She hurriedly stood in front of him, smiling brightly and saying, "How about I introduce you to your life from now on?" Gu Jiutu hurriedly tried to escape. No need, no way, thank you." She didn't want to waste words with him, calmly saying just 2 words, "Turn around." He dejectedly turned back. She then ordered the servants in the house, "Go prepare hot water and attend to the young master's bath." Yes, by the time he had finished bathing, it was very late. He was dressed in plain clothes without any flamboyant patterns, prepared by Lu Yunu herself. She looked him over, appraising him from head to toe. "I have to say, Gu Jiutu, you're not bad. People all say Yi Shiren is like a plum blossom fairy. But in terms of appearance, Gu Jiutu is the true immortal." Thinking positively, although Gu Jiutu is a bit frivolous, he has a good personality, is handsome, and has money. "This marriage isn't a loss for me." He glumly urged her, "If you have something to say it quickly. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep." Maintaining her radiant smile, she picked up a book and explained, "It's like this. I spoke with your former tutor about your academic progress and made a plan for you." His face fell upon hearing this. "Are you trying to bore me to death?" She continued, unfazed. "Every 5 days, we will go to the shop to see how your parents handle business. Every month, you will have 3 days off, which you can arrange freely, but you're not allowed to go to places like brothels." He retorted indignantly, "Only 3 days?" Lu Yunu feigned misunderstanding, asking back, or does the young master think it's too long, not beneficial to your advancement? Should we change it to 1 day? He hurriedly explained, No, 3 days is quite good." She continued outlining her conditions. During this time, husband must abstain from alcohol and frivolous pursuits. "I've already made requests regarding your concubines. Suitable ones will be allowed to stay. Unsuitable ones will be dismissed. To avoid affecting husband's mood, from now on, you will wear clothes like today's." He looked at the plain clothes she pointed to and refused. "That's not right. It's not good for me to wear this every day." Lu Yunu, having anticipated this issue, explained it's all right. "I prepared 3 sets for you. You can change into a new one each day, and they're guaranteed to be exactly the same." He couldn't help but lament inwardly. Very well, Lu Yu knew, you're truly ruthless. She continued sweetly from behind him. Husband, do you have anything to say? This time, he turned around angrily and demanded, Lu Yu knew, what are you really trying to do? Are you trying to torment me out of spite? So you came up with this method to force me to study. Upon hearing this, she could only lower her head and reply sadly. Husband knows that Yu Nu's lifelong honor or disgrace is tied to her husband. My friends all know about my relationship with the Yi family, and now that I've married you, I don't know how many people are waiting to laugh at me. I'm just an ordinary person, wanting to live a good and beautiful life, so that one day I won't be ridiculed. Hearing this, his tone softened as he tried to appease her. I can buy you beautiful clothes and hairpins. She brushed it off. Those things are useless. Husband has money, but over the years, isn't there enough ridicule already? Every single word stabs straight into my heart. It makes me remember the past. When I was young, I also wanted to be better than others, but after being compared and ridiculed for so long, I got used to it. Being a playboy is better than trying hard and still being mocked. Lu Yunu immediately encouraged him. Actually, you're very intelligent. You understand what I'm saying. You could have become a distinguished man, shouldering responsibilities, but you just don't want to. Now the situation has changed. My lord, haven't you ever thought about changing? Your parents will also grow old. They can't protect you forever. Even if you don't think for yourself, you should think for them, right? If we are humiliated in the future, and you can only glare helplessly, what will you think? Her words hit him where it hurt, but he stubbornly refused to admit it that I understand everything you're saying, but that day will never come. She continued, because your parents have already paved the way for you, haven't they? She stood up and walked closer to him, speaking each word with underlying meaning. Are these words ultimately your self-consolation or someone else's consolation? Are you afraid to face reality, or do you truly not understand anything? My lord, when I told you to read, it wasn't meaningless. It's because I know you can. I know Yishuren put in a lot of effort. I also know how intelligent you are. What Yishuren can do, you can do too. It's just that you've never tried. He said helplessly, I can't. I really can't. Lu Yunu couldn't help but affirm his abilities and oh, you can. He was speechless because of her trust in him. Afterward, she could only coax him gently. Gu Jiu Tu. Each word was a plea. Even if it's for me, try just once, okay? Gu Jiu Tu was stunned by his wife's words. Lu Yunu continued to stare at him unflinchingly. He was so embarrassed that he lowered his head. Lu Yunu is right. I have to give her back what I made her lose. It's just that surpassing Yishur and is a bit difficult for me. He recalled past memories that I've been in poor health since I was young. Although I learned quickly, reading for a long time gives me headaches. Back then, the tutor would bring books every day at the same time. I couldn't recognize any of the characters. I couldn't read a single word I hadn't seen before. So, I couldn't avoid the tutor's scolding. Yishuren sat behind me, and every time I was humiliated, he would stand up and fluently continue reading. So every time the tutor came, he would tell my father, and even my parents praised Yishuren for his intelligence. At first, I was bufu cheat, so I would run away and cry. Darling, don't cry anymore. If you're not as good, then you're not as good. Our family doesn't rely on studying to make a living. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Later, I took my parents' comforting words to heart. They always said as long as I was happy, it was fine to be willful. Now that Liu Nu has said this, I'm also a little scared. But this is the first time someone has acknowledged me and said I'm better than Yishuren. I don't want to disappoint her. After thinking for a long time, he finally stammered, he struggled to utter 3 words. I'll try. Lu Yunu didn't expect him to agree so readily. Blushing, he turned and left. Before that, he carefully reminded her, you go to sleep first. I'll read for a bit. She was a little touched. He really is a thoughtful child. She turned and went back into the room, calling her maid out to give instructions. In Hong, tell the kitchen to prepare some soup for the young master. I heard his voice was a little hoarse. To let him warm up his voice, the maid brought out a pot of hot tea, a little puzzled. Why is Miss being so nice to him? You're just too kind. If you weren't young Master Ye's husband now, why would you go to so much trouble? This isn't marrying him off. It's clearly like adopting another child. The maid's words made Lu Yunu angrily tap her head lightly with her fan. Nonsense. She sat down and, thinking things over, explained to Hong, and Hong, from now on, don't call me Miss anymore. Call me young madam. I know you're upset for me, but one must look ahead. The Gu family actually has 1,000 ways to deal with me, but they've always been good to me. Even if this marriage was Zhang Yuer's doing, my father's greed and throwing his weight around in the Gu family wouldn't do me any good. Even if they were nice, They couldn't tolerate me forever. Since I'm now the young madam of the Gu family, eating their food and wearing their clothes, I shouldn't have any other thoughts. It's better to settle down and live well. The maid poured the tea, dejectedly replying, "That's true, but I still feel sad for you. After all, young Master Yi is much better than the Gu family." Lu Yunu just smiled and continued, "If I had taken a knife to Yi Shuren today, he wouldn't be sitting down and talking with me. The Gu family may seem fierce, but they're actually much better than Yi Shuren." She set down her teacup and gently defended Gu Jio Tuesday. His skills are good, but he didn't want to hurt the servants, so he obediently let himself be confined to the study. Moreover, he's much smarter than I thought. He just lacks ambition. Gu Jio too had been outside for a while, overhearing their conversation. At this moment, his mind was in turmoil, a mix of emotions, unsure how to react. The servant beside him, seeing this, called out, "Young master," but was silenced with a gesture. He peeked through the crack in the door. Her graceful beauty immediately stirred something within him. He told himself, "She's a good woman. I have to make sure she lives well. I can't let her down." The next day, sunlight streamed through the roof of the rear courtyard. Lu Yunu, while getting dressed and putting on makeup, inquired about his whereabouts. "Where is the young master? Hasn't he returned to his room?" And Hong replied, "Young master slept in the study last night." She asked with growing curiosity, "Is he awake yet?" And Hong could only awkwardly tell the truth, "Not yet. Moonin has been waiting outside his door since early morning, but he says he can't wake him. He says he's too tired." Bright sunlight filled the study. Gu Jiu too lay on the daybed, curled up in blankets, surrounded by scattered books. Moonin hurriedly explained outside, "Young madam, I've called him several times, but young master can't hear me." Lu Yunu simply smiled and said, "It's all right. Bring some water." In the warm sunlight of the late winter days, the exhausted Gu Jiu too remained curled up in his blankets, fast asleep. Moonin lifted the basin of cold water he had just brought and dumped it over him, jolting him awake with the shock of the cold. He woke up furious, shouting, "Who threw cold water on me so early in the morning?" Moonin, standing behind him, clutched the basin tightly, thinking to himself, "It's over. Young master is about to explode." Lu Yunu, beautifully adorned, smiled and asked him, "Husband, did you sleep well?" His attitude immediately changed upon seeing her. He sheepishly scratched his head and complimented her, making Moonin, standing beside them, feel that something was amiss. "Miss Lu is so thoughtful, even coming here to wake me up." Then, as if someone had wound him up, he practically had the words determination etched on his forehead as he assured her, "Don't worry, I will definitely pass the exam and beat Yi Shuren." She stared at him, bewildered. "Just overnight, how did you become a different person?" Not giving her a chance to react, he continued, "Once I pass the exam, I'll help you gain official recognition. Then, neither of us will owe the other anything. You can pursue your own happiness, and I can pursue mine, right?" She brushed aside the previous awkwardness and cheerfully replied, "Of course." He, as if afraid she hadn't heard, deliberately reiterated, "Don't worry, I'll help you regain everything you've lost." To encourage him, she actively served him food and urged, "My lord, the tutor will be here soon." All morning, the tutor and he sat facing each other, one teaching, the other writing. From afternoon to evening, while he studied, a servant remained by his side, offering encouragement. "Young master, keep going. Once you finish this essay, there's only one more subject left for tonight. Just scribble something down." When night had fallen, Lu Yunu solicitously helped him back to his room, constantly encouraging him. "My lord, just a little bit more. You still have to memorize a passage from the Analects." Hearing this, Gu Jiu too trembled all over with dread. He clung to her arm, acting spoiled. "I can't do it anymore." Lu Yunu, "Let me sleep. I really can't take it anymore. I can't study anymore." She frowned and reminded him. "Gu Jiu too, pull yourself together." She asked seriously, "Can you memorize it?" He straightened up and replied seriously, "Yes." Gu Jiu too immediately put aside his exhaustion, sat upright at his desk, and focused on reading. Seeing this, she couldn't help but laugh, thinking, "It seems I've left quite a few psychological scars on him." Several hours later, she returned, quietly opening the door and slipping into the study. She tried to remain silent as she looked to see what he was doing. She saw him slumped over his desk, fast asleep, his book lying on the floor. He was even mumbling in his sleep. "Pass the exam. Beat Yi Shuren. Pass the exam. Beat Yi Shuren. Pass the exam. Beat Yi Shuren." She had brought a thin blanket with her and carefully draped it over him, trying not to wake him. She even whispered in his ear, "My lord, you've worked hard." A few fireflies flickered outside, like his aspirations, incessantly glimmering. 10 days later, as Guju too was engrossed in his studies, reading, "An official must have virtue," a servant suddenly rushed in, breathlessly announcing, "Young master, it's bad. It's bad." Seeing his panic, he knew what he had come to report. He asked, equally anxious, "What is it? How did Yi Shern do?" Young Master Yi placed first. He's the top scorer." Each word felt like a blow, delivering a shocking jolt. First place in the prefectural exam, and he might even place first in the metropolitan exam and the palace exam. Always number one. He remembered how hard he had been working these past days. But Yi Shern's achievements were too outstanding. "I've been pushing myself so hard, but I'm afraid I still can't keep up with him." The shock was too sudden, and he couldn't adjust. He abruptly fainted. The servant who had delivered the news cried out, Young master, what's wrong? Quickly, get a doctor. The young master has fainted. Young master, you must stay strong." Madame Jiang, having learned of the situation, rushed over to check on her son's health. Seeing his exhausted face, she couldn't bear it. You can't rush these things. Our child has never suffered hardships since he was young. Now you're making him work so hard. Something like this is bound to happen." Lu Yunu lowered her head, accepting the blame. "Mother is right. I know I was wrong." Madame Jiang, feeling distressed, wanted to advise her daughter-in-law, "But you don't necessarily have to force him to study. If Jiu 2 isn't suited for it, don't push him too hard." Lu Yunu simply asked her one question. "Then what is he suited for?" Then she suggested, "Father is highly skilled in martial arts. Why not let him?" Madame Jiang cut her off before she could finish. No, Jiu 2 is our only child. The battlefield is too dangerous. What if something happens to him?" Lu Yunu sighed after hearing this. She said with difficulty, "Mother, in my heart, you've always been the most intelligent woman. Why is it that whenever it comes to husband's matters, you can't think clearly? If he can't follow the path of martial arts, then he can only follow the path of scholarship. But whether it's business or becoming an official, who doesn't need to study?" Because she was right, Madame Jiang couldn't refute her. Lu Yunu then brought up another point. "Husband has no siblings, and our relatives are all the way in the eastern capital. When father and mother are old, who will help husband manage the family business? Mother, you have to think about husband's future. He has to endure hardships now because he was too carefree when he was young. Life requires a balance of experiences. If he doesn't endure hardships now, he will suffer doubly later." She poured tea into a cup as she spoke, then brought it to her mother-in-law, asking under the guise of question, "Mother, tell me, am I not right?" Madame Jiang accepted the teacup, unable to deny the truth. "You're right." Lu Yunu smiled, pointing out Gu Jiu 2's strengths. "Moreover, these past few days, I've observed husband's talent, and it's not inferior to others. So I hope that from now on, father and mother will stop saying he can't do anything. In my eyes, even if husband were to pass the imperial examination and become the top scholar, I wouldn't be surprised." Hearing her say this, Madame Jiang felt somewhat reassured. "You're right. Your father and I were thinking too narrowly. You're a good child. You knew Jiu 2 marrying you puts my mind at ease." Being acknowledged by her mother-in-law, Lu Yunu blushed slightly in embarrassment. She saw her mother-in-law to the door, who said with some reluctance, "It's getting late. I have to go back to the shop to take care of some things. When Jiu 2 is feeling better, I'll bring you home for a visit. Set aside some time, and I'll take you to see a few shops." Hearing this, Lu Yunu's eyes widened in surprise, and she couldn't help but think to herself, in other families, it's rare for the wife to manage the family business and discuss business matters. But in the Gu family, it's normal. Mother asking me to see the shops. She must be wanting me to gradually take over the business. Sensing her good intentions, Lu Yunu smiled and replied, "Yes." After seeing her mother-in-law off, she gently pushed the door open and went inside. Seeing that Gu Jiu 2 had woken up, she asked with concern, "Husband, are you feeling any better?" He replied indifferently, "I'm fine. Is it time to study now?" Lu Yunu sat down beside the bed and said gently, "Just rest today. Let's talk for a bit." Probably still affected by his opponent's victory, Gu Jiu 2 stiffly turned away, not wanting to face Lu Yunu. "Oh, I don't want to talk." Unexpectedly, she didn't give him a chance to refuse. "Well then, talk to me." She excitedly recounted what had just happened. "Your mother asked me to go with her to look at some shops. I guess she wants me to help her manage the business." Gu Jiu 2 wondered, "Isn't it just business? Why are you so happy?" He suddenly remembered her past. "That's right, back when you were still at the Lu family." He excitedly sat up and explained, My mother letting you go with her probably means she's seeing if you're suitable for this. Later, if I become an official, the Gu family's business can't be neglected, so it's better to entrust the full authority to you. The words to you echoed repeatedly in her mind. Whether intentionally or not, he leaned closer and whispered, "The future of the Gu family depends on you." What's wrong? Are you so happy you're speechless? After the excitement subsided, she worriedly lowered her head and asked for his opinion. So, tell me. Seeing her excited yet slightly embarrassed expression, Gu Jiu felt a stir in his heart that, when facing the unknown, it's not just me who feels anxious. He couldn't hide his amusement and chuckled. Lu Yu knew, you finally reached this day. His teasing turned her embarrassment into anger, and she gritted her teeth, emphasizing each word. Gu, Jiu, Tuesday. She reached out as if to punish him, making him cry out in mock fear, "Don't come near me." But how could she miss this opportunity? His cries echoed throughout the backyard. "Ah, spare me, my lady. You're the best. You're the fiercest, all right. Who did you say was fierce?" Gu Jiu Tuesday. The magnolia tree in the backyard was in full bloom. Gu Jiu-Tu's hands tightly gripped hers, making her plead, all right. Their faces were close, causing Lu Yunu's cheeks to flush. "Stop squeezing. I admit defeat. Let go." He also stated his condition. "Then you can't squeeze me either." She pulled her hand back and quickly sat down, turning away to avoid facing him. Lu Yunu changed the subject. "Ah, you should rest a bit. In 2 days, make time to go home with me for a visit." He felt lighter after their playful banter and cheerfully replied, "All right, then you shouldn't worry anymore. You can even manage me, so those small shops should be a piece of cake, right?" She was surprised by his encouragement, and then, out of shyness, lowered her head and softly replied, Then she suddenly remembered something and carefully reminded him, "Oh right, when we go to my house, you talk less. Just be good to me." He smiled and affirmed, "Don't worry, I guarantee I'll make you proud." She thought for a moment and continued, "Also, I want to bring Zhang Yu Heir's youngest child under my mother's name." She trailed off, seeing his innocent expression, sighing and putting the matter aside. Forget it. Early the next morning, the couple took a palanquin to the Lu residence. Lu Xian, her mother, and second aunt were already waiting outside the gate. The servants respectfully lifted the curtain, clearing the way for them to descend. Gu Jiu gallantly stepped down first and then extended his hand to help her. "Madam, be careful." She seemed to enjoy his attentiveness. Lu Xian didn't react, but her mother, upon seeing her, anxiously called out, "You knew." Lu Yunu happily ran towards her mother. "Mother." She looked happily at her mother, her eyes filled with satisfaction. After so many years, her mother had finally overcome hardships and returned to her rightful position as the official wife. Gu Jiu, seeing his wife's tears, asked with concern, "Why is Madam crying? Is something wrong?" His words gave her goosebumps. "I told him to act nicely towards me, but he doesn't need to be this fake." But since she had started this charade, she had to see it through. Holding his hand, she smiled and explained, "I'm just so happy to see father and mother again that I'm crying tears of joy." The two of them bowed respectfully. Daughter greets father, mother. Son-in-law greets father-in-law, mother-in-law. Only then did Lu Xian offer a polite smile. Good. You must be tired from the long journey. The meal is ready. Come in and rest." After the meal, she went to her mother to ask, "Has anything happened while I've been away?" Her mother calmly replied, "Zhang Yu Heir is only focused on Ing Heir now and has argued with your father quite a few times. Your father finds him bothersome, so he's been coming to me more often. I don't mind. Whether he comes or not makes no difference to me. It's just that everyone sees him supporting me, so they treat me much better." Then she changed the subject to Lu Yunu. "What about you? How was that young Master Gu?" Knowing her mother's worries, she immediately reassured her, "Mother, Jiu is much better than the rumors say. He's very good to me. You saw how he treated me during the meal just now." During the meal, he had been attentive to every detail. "I've removed all the fish bones, madam. Please try it." "Madam, the tea is still hot. Let me cool it for you." "Madam, your hands are so cold. I'll have someone bring a hand warmer." His constant use of madam made her mother suspicious. "Does he act like this at home too?" Lu Yunu affirmed, "Mother, don't worry. He really treats me very well." Seeing her daughter say this, her mother didn't press further. "That's good then." She stood up and looked out the window. A woman loved by her husband had nothing to worry about in life. Looking at her mother's thin back, Lu Yunu couldn't help but think, "I used to think mother was right, but now I can't agree." But mother has thought this way her whole life. It would be very difficult for her to change. She then voiced her thoughts. Mother, now that your relationship with father has improved, you should think about the future. You don't have any children of your own. Why not adopt one as an heir? Yu heir's youngest child is just over 2 years old. How about I talk to father about this afternoon? What do you think? Her mother hesitated. I don't think that's appropriate. She simply smiled reassuringly. Don't worry, Gio2 will help me. By now it was late evening. The whole family gathered intimately around the dinner table. Lu Yunu initiated the conversation. Little brother Ing'er is almost 2 years old now, isn't he? Can he talk yet? Second aunt, holding her child, replied cheerfully, yes, he's almost 2. He can't speak clearly yet, but he can call me mother. Then she leaned down and coaxed the child. Ing'er, come here, call mother for everyone to hear. Unexpectedly, she made the child burst into tears. This caused Gu Gio2 to chuckle. I apologize. This child is so amusing. I couldn't help it. But Lu Yunu, sitting beside him, shot him a glare, and he straightened up as if jolted by electricity. She had to apologize for him. Dinyang, please don't blame him. Our Gio2 has always been like this. Although somewhat displeased due to her lower status, Zhang Yu heir had to endure it. Young Master Gu is naturally straightforward. There's no need to take it to heart. At this point, Lu Yunu finally got to the main topic. Now that Yu Dinyang has 2 sons, Yunu is truly envious. I keep thinking, now that I'm married, shouldn't there be someone by mother's side to care for her? Father, don't you agree? Lu Xian, sitting beside her, nodded in agreement. You're right. Mother should have another child by her side. Hearing this, Zhang Yu'er panicked and turned to object. What? Lu Xian patted his son's head, coaxing Zhang Yu'er. How about this, Yu'er? Let the main wife raise Ing'er. She recoiled in fear, flatly refusing. Lao Yi, Ing'er is still young. He can't leave me. Unexpectedly, Gu Gio2, who usually didn't interfere in other people's affairs, chimed in. Yu Dinyang, those are interesting words. Whose son can't leave his mother? It's not like he's made of glass. Dinyang, why not entrust the child to the first madam's care, to prevent him from going astray? Zhang Yu'er glared at her hatefully, thinking to herself, I should have killed Madame Jiang earlier and married Lu Yunu off to some old man as a concubine. It's all because I was too soft-hearted that they have the opportunity to rise up like this today. She knelt down, appealing to Lu Xian based on her past contributions. Lao Yi, all these years, I've served the Lu family diligently, even if I haven't made great contributions. Everything I've done has been for these 2 children. You can't listen to Madame Jiang and her daughter's fabricated stories and take my child away. If she had agreed to hand over her son, she wouldn't have provoked Lu Xian. He angrily called for the servants. Someone, drag her away. Don't let her embarrass us here. Lu Yunu looked happily at her mother, thinking to herself, Mother can finally be at peace. They ate dinner and chatted late into the night. By the time they boarded the carriage to return home, it was so dark outside that it was difficult to see clearly. It wasn't until they were settled in the carriage on their way back to the Gu residence that Lu Yunu voiced her question. Why was father so agreeable today? Gu Gio2 tossed his hair, boasting, that's thanks to me. She stared blankly, a little confused, unsure how to respond. He eagerly gestured in front of her. Why are you spacing out? Praise me quickly. Lu Yunu shyly covered her face with her fan, reluctant to admit it. Praise you for what? He bashfully took credit. This afternoon, I talked to your father about adopting an heir. She couldn't help but ask, what did you say? He recalled the scene of him putting his arm around Lu Xian's shoulders and recounting. All the noble ladies have sons, and if they don't, they adopt one. Your mother is all alone, and I'm worried about her. I initially prepared quite a few gifts for my little brother-in-law, but unfortunately, my wife doesn't have any younger brothers, which made me even more worried. That Dinyang with her sons has bullied my wife more than once, and now you want me to give gifts to her son? I'm really not happy about that. In the end, he deliberately emphasized, father-in-law, wasn't that what you said? After finishing his story, he was quite proud of himself. He concluded, that's how it is. Lu Yunu, after hearing this, hesitantly asked, was that perhaps a bit too blunt? He chuckled and tapped his fan against his wife's silly head. You overthink everything. Why do you think your father hasn't left your mother all these years? She asked blankly. Because divorcing wouldn't look good? Gu Gio2 patiently explained. Your father cares about appearances, yes, but he hasn't left your mother because he still needs the Su family support. He dotes on Zhang Yu'er because he doesn't want to offend the Su family. If your mother had made a fuss earlier, where would Zhang Yu'er's comfortable life be? Understanding dawned on her, and she dejectedly lowered her eyes. Men are so calculating. Seeing her sadness, he added, men are also human, and all humans crave money and power. In your father's eyes, women are merely tools to gain wealth and status. Now he wants to flatter our family, so naturally, he has to treat your mother well and agree to all my requests. Your father is a shrewd calculator. After hearing him, she sincerely praised, Gujio too, you're truly amazing. He was so surprised by her compliment that his eyes widened. He pressed her against the carriage wall with one hand and whispered, call me husband. Gujio 2's closeness made her blush. Call me husband. Despite her shyness, Lu Yunu resolutely called out, husband, you're so brilliant. He looked at her tenderly, his eyes filled with indescribable gentleness. But the romantic atmosphere was quickly shattered by her. She started pestering him with questions. Tell me more about Zhang Yuer. What do you think of her? He crossed his arms and commanded, tea. She obediently offered him a cup of hot tea. Here you go. Seeing her docility, he sighed. Lu Yunu, I've discovered you truly know when to advance and retreat. She didn't deny it. Indeed, those who achieve great things must have such an attitude. He took the teacup and pulled her into his arms. All right, whatever you want to ask today, I'll tell you everything. I won't leave a single word out. She softly asked, so what do you think of Prince Liang? At the mere mention of him, Gujio 2 slammed his teacup against the carriage seat, gnashing his teeth. That rebellious traitor. He's bound to betray us eventually. Hearing her husband's words, she became a little worried. Gujio 2, do you know something? What are you going to do? Before she could finish her question, he started yawning. Within seconds, he was lying on her lap, fast asleep, even instructing, I want to sleep. Don't make any noise. No matter how much Lu Yunu shook him, he wouldn't wake up. Gujio 2, wake up. Answer my question before you sleep. Until the next morning, she persistently called his name, trying to wake him. Gujio 2, Gujio Tuesday. She had stayed up all night, her cheeks hollowed and dark circles under her eyes. Gujio 2, still curled up in the blankets, complained, didn't you say I could rest? I'm really tired, completely exhausted. I want to sleep. She pulled back the blankets and questioned him. Answer me one more question, and then you can sleep. Why did you say Prince Liang will betray us? Because he was still drowsy, he hurriedly denied it. Huh? Did I say that? I was just talking nonsense. I don't remember anything. It wasn't until she angrily shouted, calling his full name, Gujio 2, that he fearfully woke up. I'll talk. Gujio 2 rubbed his sore neck and explained, it's just that I feel Prince Liang is too suspicious. He has troops in power. He thinks of everything for the emperor and even sends his family members as hostages. But if he's truly that loyal, why doesn't he hand over his military power? Look, these past few years he's been fighting battles, and every time he's asked the court for reinforcements. But looking at the battles, I feel that there were several times he could have completely annihilated the enemy in a single battle, yet he didn't. Why do you think that is? The only possibility I can think of is that he can defeat the foreign enemies, but he's afraid of the cunning rabbit dead, hunting dog cook scenario. He also knows the emperor suspects him, so he started plotting rebellion. It's just that the time isn't ripe, so he's temporarily pretending to be obedient. He intentionally lets the Chun kingdom harass the border, using these perfunctory battles to continuously request more troops, accumulating strength for the day he rebels. Lu Yunu asked doubtfully, how do you know he could have annihilated the enemy in a single battle? He didn't hide it. I've met quite a few people from Prince Liang's fiefdom at the gambling house before. They told me about the situation there. Then he shrugged it off. I'm just guessing. It can't be taken as truth. She silently pondered for a moment. Suddenly he spoke. Do you have any more questions? I want to sleep. Seeing him trying to answer her questions despite his sleepiness, she felt a little touched, her voice gentler than usual. Go to sleep. Lu Yunu thoughtfully tucked him in while considering his words. Most of what Gujio 2 said made sense. Even if the intelligence reports could be fake, casual talk in a gambling house wouldn't need to be fabricated. Suddenly, the door was pushed open, and In Hong poked her head in to report. Young madam, madam is calling for you. Upon hearing this, she remained silent. Cherry blossoms bloomed in the large courtyard of the Gu residence. Having been summoned by her mother-in-law, she quickly arrived and greeted respectfully, Mother. Madame Jiang held a bowl and cheerfully called her over. Come, finish your breakfast, and I'll take you to the shop to have a look. She thoughtfully added food to her bowl and gently inquired, Yesterday, Jiu 2 went back to your family home with you. Did he do anything wrong? She was startled, remembering yesterday. The scene of him tenderly making her call him husband flashed through her mind. Blushing, she said, "No, he was very good. Jiu-Tu helped me a lot." Madame Jiang encouraged her. "You've worked hard. Once Jiu-Tu gets used to studying, you won't need to be by his side constantly. You can spend more time on business. Listen to your mother. It's getting late. We should go to the shop." She led her over and introduced her to everyone. "This is Manager Liu." She explained a series of things about the shop's location, business methods, and supply sources, leaving Liu Yu frantically taking notes and feeling overwhelmed. "It's also time for the annual account checking. I'll guide you through it once, and later you can help me check all the books." "Yes." Gu Jiu-Tu leisurely fanned himself under the bright moon and cool breeze, sighing, "After so many days of arduous study, I can finally relax and enjoy myself." Suddenly, a servant behind him asked, "Young master, you're out this late?" "Young madam." These words made him pause. He tiptoed over and cautiously opened the door crack. "She's probably asleep by now, right?" After cautiously peeking inside, he saw Liu Yu sound asleep at her desk, exhausted, surrounded by account books and an abacus. He rushed over and tried to wake her. "Liu Yu, wake up. Go sleep on the bed. Why are you slumped over the table like this?" Because his calls went unanswered, he had to lift her up. Liu Yu only then mumbled drowsily, "You're back." Gu Jiu-Tu was surprised. "I'm back this late, and she's not scolding me?" He placed her on the bed, carefully tucked her in, and said, "Don't talk anymore. Go to sleep." He turned and asked his servant, "What did the young madam do today to be so tired?" The servant replied, "I just came back from making inquiries. Today, Madam took the young madam to the shop to familiarize herself with things and also entrusted her with checking this year's account books." Gu Jiu-Tu asked doubtfully, "Such an important task was given to her?" "Yes," the servant confirmed. "Everyone is saying that Madam is grooming the young madam. Before long, the household affairs will likely all be decided by the young madam." He narrowed his eyes, looked at his wife sleeping soundly, and sighed, "Isn't it already being decided by her? From now on, she'll have to supervise my studies and manage the accounts. Won't that be too much for her?" She remained fast asleep, oblivious to what was happening. Although it was late at night, he continued practicing his writing. Noticing his wife's maid steadfastly watching him, he tried to dismiss her. "Miss Yin Hong, if you're sleepy, you can go rest for a bit." Despite being tired, the young maid refused. "I can't. I promised the young madam that I would properly supervise the young master's studies." Hearing this, he could only sigh deeply and lament to himself. Indeed, from then on, Liu Yu rose earlier than the rooster and slept later than the dog. The task of supervising my studies was also handed over to Yin Hong. At first, she was very slow at reviewing the accounts. Every day, after comparing the books, she would go to the shop to check the inventory. She was busy all day long, and sometimes, if she couldn't finish comparing the books, she would stay up all night to complete them. "Don't fall asleep," she'd mutter, her eyes drooping. She even slapped herself to stay awake. "Don't fall asleep." I had never seen a girl so diligent, disciplined, and strict with herself. Her appearance under the warm candlelight, bit by bit, etched itself into my life. Only at that time, I was completely unaware. That image of her, little by little, stirred something within him, etching itself into his life. Only at that time, he was completely unaware. After a while, she was able to manage the shop on her own. She told herself, "Up until now, business matters have always been decided by my mother-in-law. This is the first time she's letting go and allowing me to negotiate independently. I absolutely cannot let her down." A servant opened the door, inviting the distinguished guest in. She introduced herself, "Master Zhou, I am Liu Yu, the daughter-in-law of the owner of Zhang's shop. Currently, I am temporarily managing Zhang's trading company, so I will be discussing the fabric matter with you." Master Zhou greeted her politely. "Young madam, so young and capable, you must possess extraordinary abilities." She confidently affirmed, "My family's business also focuses on fabrics, so I am very familiar with this matter. I will certainly not disappoint you, Master Zhou." Liu Yu placed 2 identical contracts on the table. 2 contracts, one for you, Master Zhou, and one for us to keep. "Master Zhou, please see if there are any issues." After a long discussion about business, Master Zhou finally suggested, "It's getting late. Allow me to escort you home, young madam." But Liu Yu politely declined. "There's no need. I brought my servants. Please, don't trouble yourself. Then at least let me see you to the door." The 2 of them and their servants went downstairs together. Suddenly, a man holding a wine jug called out teasingly, "Oh, and who is this lovely young lady?" emerging from a private room with another man in broad daylight and looking so intimate. Is it Wang Rong? Lu Yunu's face paled when she saw him. It was indeed Wang Rong, the malicious man from her dream. The man who, in her dream, held a grudge against Gu Jiutu for breaking his leg and ultimately killed him. Master Zhou stepped forward to defend her. Sir, please be mindful of your words. This lady and I were merely discussing business. There was no impropriety whatsoever, and our families are aware of our meeting. Please refrain from making baseless accusations. The man continued to sneer. Oh, so your families approve of these kinds of outings? Master Zhou was about to retort, but Lu Yunu tugged on his sleeve to stop him. Master Zhou, she whispered, he's from an official's family. Let's not cause a scene. She advised him, an upright person is not afraid of gossip. Don't invite trouble, Master Zhou. We are in Yangzhou, after all. She then straightened her back, standing confidently beside him. But Wang Rong wouldn't let it go. Don't be in such a hurry, little lady. After entertaining this gentleman, why not entertain me as well? Lu Yunu's servant quickly stepped forward to protect her, stating firmly, Master Wang, my lady is the young madam of the Gu family. Please show some respect. He not only refused to believe it, but also retorted, oh, just because you say she's from the Gu family doesn't make it true. She could be an imposter. He used his fan to lift her chin, appraising her from head to toe. She appears refined and pure, but a closer look reveals a certain allure. Lu Yunu used 2 fingers to push the fan away from her chin. With a stern expression, she warned, Master Wang, I have made my identity clear. If you continue this drunken charade, you are slandering the Gu family. A single memorial to the capital, and I wonder if you could withstand the punishment your family would face. Her words enraged him to the point that he raised his hand to strike her. Fortunately, Master Zhou easily intercepted the blow. He frowned, warning, Master Wang, as a member of an official's family, you should hold yourself to a higher standard and set an example for others. If you persist in this drunken brawl, are you truly prepared to antagonize the Gu family? Wang Rong, fear evident in his eyes, broke out in a cold sweat. He then called for his guards, pretending nothing had happened. Oh dear, I'm drunk. So drunk I can't even see straight. Someone, help me down from here. Only then did Lu Yunu dare to relax. She said awkwardly, Master Zhou, I'm so sorry to have involved you in this. The Wang family is powerful in Yangzhou. Now that he can't do anything to me, he'll certainly make things difficult for you. It would be best if you left Yangzhou. I'll handle the fabric matter, please rest assured. He, however, felt this was quite normal. It's all right. Even if it wasn't Madame, Zhou couldn't stand idly by and watch someone like him act that way. He gallantly offered, safety first. Allow me to escort Madame part of the way home. Feeling apprehensive, Lu Yunu didn't refuse. Then I'll trouble Master Zhou. The carriage was waiting outside with the family servants. In Hong noticed her mistress was lost in thought as soon as she boarded the carriage and called out, Mississippi. Lu Yunu was consumed with worry. From now on, any business dealings where men and women were alone in a room, even with servants present, would inevitably lead to gossip. She wondered how her mother-in-law would handle this. Furthermore, regarding Wang Rong's actions today, why did he suddenly appear? Now that I've threatened him like that, what if he... Suddenly, the sound of galloping hooves echoed from outside. Lu Yunu eagerly lifted the curtain to look out, because she felt the voice was very familiar, much like her husband's. It really was him, but he rode past her carriage without even turning his head. She hurriedly shouted to stop him. Gu Jiutu, where are you going? Come back. Just then, a household servant came running up, breathlessly reporting, Madam, it's bad. The young master heard that Wang Rong was bullying you and snatched a horse from the stables. He said he was going to break Wang Rong's legs. Lu Yunu was utterly shocked. Everything was unfolding just like in her dream. Because everything happened so quickly, Lu Yunu was still reeling from her earlier fright and hadn't had time to leave. Master Zhou approached the carriage and remarked, so this is young Master Gu, truly youthful and impetuous. He then reassured her, Madam, don't worry. The young master is probably just letting off steam. They'll argue a bit, and it'll be over. But she could only anxiously retort, no, it's not like that. Declining his kindness, she hurriedly bid him farewell. Master Zhou, my husband has a fiery temper. I must go and see what's happening. Thank you for escorting me. The tavern door was kicked open with a bang. Gu Jiutu stormed in, bellowing, Where's Wang Rong? Wang Rong, sitting on a chair, arrogantly embraced 2 girls and drunkenly replied, Oh ho, I wondered who it was. Turns out it's the young master of the Gu family. He then raised his wine flask towards Gu Jiu-Tu mockingly. Young Master Gu, always so flamboyant, why are you dressed so plainly today? Wearing morning clothes? Want me to offer you a drink? Provoked, Gu Jiu-Tu grabbed Wang Rong by the collar and yanked him up. Then he forcefully threw him aside. Although sprawled on the ground, he still cursed defiantly. Gu Jiu-Tu, are you crazy? Gu Jiu-Tu, not only undeterred, retorted sharply. Aren't you trying to act tough with me? Let's see who's the strongest in Yangzhou City. Come on, try showing off in front of me again. Panicked, he hastily used his family to threaten. If you do this, my father won't let you off. He responded without hesitation. Your father? I won't let him off either. Wang Rong, you insulted my Gu family first. It's only natural that I discipline you. What does your father have to say about it? He immediately retorted, Nonsense. When did I insult your Gu family? His face darkened as he explained, The person you were causing trouble with just now is the young madam of the Gu family, my wife. Are you saying you weren't causing trouble with me? He fearfully denied it. Oh, you're talking about that? Jiu-Tu, it was all a misunderstanding. I was drunk. I didn't know. Gu Jiu-Tu promptly slapped him. You know now. At this moment, Wang Rong's two guards finally rushed over in a panic. Young master, are you all right? He angrily cursed. Why are you only here now? I was almost beaten to death by him. Gu Jiu-Tuesday. He gritted his teeth and insulted him. You have no shame letting your wife go out with men and laugh and talk. Can you blame me for not knowing? A married woman, yet so shameless. Gu Jiu-Tu angrily retorted. Your whole family of women are like turtles hiding in their shells. Can't stand seeing my wife living freely? I dote on her. What business is it of a beast like you to comment? He directly threatened. Gu Jiu-Tu, don't mess with me, or you'll regret it later. He didn't let Wang Rong boast any further, kicking him squarely in the chest, sending him sprawling backwards. Then let me make you cry right now. The surrounding people called out in alarm. Young master. Gu Jiu-Tu, seeing a group of people pointing swords at him, warned, Let's see who dares to step forward. The two guards were flustered, unable to think of a solution, and unwilling to sacrifice themselves to protect him. Wang Rong, meanwhile, was crawling backwards to avoid further blows, stammering, What are you going to do? Red streaks now appeared in his eyes. He used his foot to break Wang Rong's bone, causing him to scream in pain, tears streaming down his face uncontrollably. Finally, Gu Jiu-Tu turned to warn everyone present in the tavern. In my Gu family, men are people and women are people too. What men can do, they can do too. They must live strong and proud, fearing neither heaven nor earth. If I hear anyone talking behind their backs again, I'll break their dog legs. He bent down, emphasizing each word to Wang Rong. What I said, did you hear clearly? Do you still dare to act tough? He painfully admitted his mistake. Young master, I was wrong. From now on, I'll stay 3 zhang away from the young madam. In this Qingyang prefecture, you're the boss, the biggest. I don't dare act tough anymore. Seeing Gu Jiu-Tu relent, his two guards hurriedly helped him out, wanting to escape quickly. He could only moan in pain, my leg. Finally, Gu Jiu-Tu felt happy and relieved. Unexpectedly, as he turned to leave, the joy in his eyes was quickly replaced by worry, because at this moment his wife, Lu Yunu, was standing at the door, staring inside. Lu Yunu stood at the door, staring blankly at him. Although he wasn't wrong, he still felt a little guilty when he looked at her. Why was she still here? Hadn't he told her to go back? She sadly watched the people helping Wang Rong away. Worry filled her heart. In the end, Gu Jiu-Tu had still resorted to violence, breaking Wang Rong's leg. That I arrived too late, she thought, it's my fault. Gu Jiu-Tu, he still did it, he broke Wang Rong's leg. I arrived too late. It's my fault. She sighed. What was done was done. Now, they could only plan for the future. Let's go home. The two walked on the bridge. Gu Jiu-Tu, knowing his wife was worried about him, offered comfort. Don't worry. No matter what they do, they can't touch me. His father is just a regional commander in Yangzhou. It's just a broken leg. My uncle is there. He won't let anything happen. Besides, you did nothing wrong. Lu Yunu stopped walking immediately, lowering her head and speaking dejectedly. But Jiu-Tu, the world is constantly changing. Even those at the height of their power should know to leave themselves a way out. You acting like this. Suddenly, he draped his cloak over her, silencing her with the unexpected gesture. Then he whispered gently, I understand what you're saying, but he dared to bully you right in front of me, even disrespecting the Gu family. If I remained silent, how could I still call myself a man? He recognized the person beside you and still dared to act like that. He must have overheard something. He's testing us. If I back down now, he'll only push further in the future. Putting him in bed for a few months serves as a warning. Hearing her husband's words, her heart burned with anxiety. Wang Rong has never been cunning. He must have overheard some clue. Could it be about that dream? Fear made her tremble. Gu Jiu too, unaware of her thoughts, innocently asked, "Are you cold?" He didn't wait for her reply, quickly pulling her into an embrace to warm her. "Are you still cold now?" The sudden hug made her shy and embarrassed. She couldn't speak loudly, only managing a soft Holding her, he recounted a story, and back then Su and Xiang, Chun Tan, and I would gamble all night. When it got cold, we'd huddle together for warmth. It wasn't bad. Don't misunderstand. I'm not trying to take advantage of you. I see you as a sworn brother. Her embarrassment quickly faded, replaced by relief. Then, thank you. Perhaps due to his recent studies, he was fond of dispensing wisdom. There's always a solution to every problem. If you're cold, I'll give you my coat. If you're still cold, we'll lean on each other. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. Don't be so sad. You're my wife. Even if we separate in the future, as long as we're still husband and wife, I'll protect you. Don't be afraid. As long as I'm here, I won't let you suffer. Who dares to bully you? She interrupted him. You'll break their legs. Gu Jiutu nodded. Exactly. Lu Yunu felt a little more at ease, but she was still puzzled. You said you understand. Gu Jiutu, didn't you used to dislike me a lot? She only dared to think the following words. You weren't angry when you married me, and you didn't make things difficult for me. Now you're protecting me so wholeheartedly, doing everything for me. Gu Jiutu replied easily. I'm not someone who can't distinguish right from wrong. You married into this family, taking on this responsibility for me. You genuinely care about me, pushing me to study, making me quit gambling, all because you were afraid I'd ruin my future. I've engraved all of that in my heart. Your affection for me, I've taken it all to heart. That's how people are. Whoever treats me well, I will certainly not disappoint. Moreover, you marrying into the Gu family was my fault. So not only should I not blame you, I should also protect you, making sure you don't regret marrying me. That is my duty as a husband. Every single word pierced her heart, filling it with sweetness. For so many years, this was the first time someone had treated her so fairly, so frankly and passionately, without any concealment. He could declare openly, amongst everyone, I dote on you. I treat you well. She happily confessed her feelings. Gu Jiutu, you're so good. He was just waiting for her to say this to take credit. Isn't that obvious? I told you, I'm the best man in the world. Marrying me, you've hit the jackpot. Lu Yunu, witnessing this scene, could only smile to herself, thinking, this man, you can't even praise him a little. It was a while later before the two of them walked back to the Gu residence. Upon arriving, they saw Madame Jiang waiting outside. As soon as she saw them, she anxiously asked, I heard that the eldest young master of the Wang family bullied you today. Lu Yunu lowered her head, putting on a pitiful expression as she recounted. I don't know how, but he suddenly barged in, pretended not to recognize me, and said some harsh words. Madame Jiang immediately comforted her and assured her, it's common for women to encounter some trouble when they go out. Don't take it to heart. But tomorrow I will go see his father. We must get some justice. Lu Yunu hurriedly stopped her. No need, mother. Seeing her vague response, Madame Jiang turned to her son questioningly. Jiutu, did you already take action? Gu Jiutu frankly admitted, yes, I said I'd break his legs, and I did. Madame Jiang sighed sadly. Jiutu. She tried to calmly explain to her son, Jiutu, you should grow up. Many things can't be solved with violence. Today, you made such a big deal out of this. Even if we were right, we're now in the wrong. But he stubbornly argued, right or wrong is just a facade for the world. Mother, why don't you talk to uncle and find a way to remove his father from his position as governor? That would be the only way to eliminate future trouble. His words only angered his mother further, and she snapped, preposterous. But for her son's sake, she relented. Fine, I'll discuss it with your father. Tomorrow, you will go with him to the Wang residence to apologize. Lu Yunyu also chimed in, "Mother, don't be angry. Take care of your health." Then Madame Jiang ordered the servants, "Someone, take the eldest young master to the Buddhist hall for some self-reflection." Unexpectedly, Gu Jiu flung his sleeve and turned away. "No need, I can go myself." After he left, Madame Jiang said to her daughter-in-law, "Yunyu, come with me." While pouring tea, Lu Yunyu spoke up for her husband. "Mother, please don't be too upset." Jiu acted a bit impulsively this time, but it wasn't entirely without reason. The Wang family relies on their power to bully others. If we silently endure, wouldn't that just invite further contempt? Madame Jiang wasn't heartless towards her son, I understand. On a normal day, if Jiu did this, I wouldn't see anything wrong with it. I'm just worried that His Majesty is already suspicious of Prince Liang. She fell silent with worry for a moment. Her mother-in-law continued, "I don't know the specifics, but my older brother has a deep friendship with Prince Liang. Jiu is right. Now that we've made an enemy, it will be best to have the Wang family leave Yangzhou. If His Majesty truly suspects Prince Liang, we absolutely cannot allow any slip-ups to reach the capital and implicate my brother." Song Jiuxi is still unclear about the situation, and now even his uncle is constrained. So how can he have the power to touch the Wang family? Lu Yunyu thought to herself, "It seems the omen in my dream was this. The emperor is gravely ill and suspects Prince Liang, intending to eliminate this potential threat before his death, thus forcing Prince Liang to rebel. When her uncle falls, Prince Liang will rebel and be killed by Fan Xian, the military governor of Yuzhou, throwing the world into chaos. Now, I'm afraid Prince Liang has already heard the news and is just waiting to find a flaw in Gu Jiuxi to use as an excuse to demote his uncle. The Gu family's wealth rivals the national treasury, naturally making them a target for Prince Liang. Madame Jiang looked at her daughter-in-law, trembling with worry for her husband, with heartache. She patted her shoulder to comfort her, but don't be too frightened. Prince Liang doesn't have many eyes and ears in the eastern capital, so he surely hasn't grasped the information quickly. This time, it may not necessarily be a trap. Lu Yunyu refuted her words. "No, mother, we can't harbor such wishful thinking. We must assume that Prince Liang has indeed set a trap for Jiuxi. We absolutely cannot hand them a flaw on a silver platter." She immediately offered her suggestion. If that Wang Rong truly carries Wang Ying to the Gu residence to apologize, the Gu family will be infamous throughout the land for abusing their power. You must immediately take Jiuxi to apologize, and you must make sure everyone, high and low, witnesses it and is completely convinced. No one will dare to say we are biased. Madame Jiang considered this and nodded in agreement. "You're right. Prepare the carriage quickly. I'll take him immediately." She immediately ordered the carriage to be brought around so they could go to the Wang residence. Getting into the carriage, she saw Gu Jiuxi gnawing on some food and asked, "Who gave you that chicken leg?" He wiped his mouth clean and replied, "Munin did. They only said to confine me to the Buddhist hall, not starve me. Only you, this cruel woman, would do such a thing." She lowered her head sadly and said, "Mother originally planned to go apologize tomorrow, but His Majesty now suspects Prince Liang. This matter with Wang Ying, I'm afraid, is a trap." He suddenly said 4 decisive words. "I don't regret it." This made her eyes widen in surprise. Actually, on the way to confront him, I also considered the possibility of a trap. At worst, I'll go apologize with Mother. I'll break my own leg in front of everyone. Even if this news reaches the eastern capital, it will be difficult to pursue the matter. He muttered to himself sadly. It seems the Gu family is about to face a storm. She stared at him, her heart heavy with thought. At first, I only hoped he would mature and improve. Now, he's truly showing some signs of maturity. But I feel like a person who can maintain their naivete, untouched by storms, is truly what brings joy. His eyes, brimming with tears, were filled with sadness, but he still worriedly asked her, "What's with that look on your face?" The one about to break his leg, am not even sad." "What are you sad about?" Lu Yunyu turned to him, vowing, "Gu Jiuxi, don't worry. I'll go with you. If you really break your leg, I'll carry you back." He was speechless with emotion, then pinched her cheeks affectionately. "Don't be silly. The Gu family hasn't fallen so far that we need our young madam to carry us." He handed her a cup of tea to comfort her. "All right, don't be sad anymore. I've thought it through. Don't worry. Here, drink some hot tea to warm yourself." Despite trying to remain calm, his hands holding the cup trembled uncontrollably. Seeing this, she felt even more concerned for him. Though he didn't say it, nor did he show it, deep down, he was still afraid. Gu Jiusi was intelligent, but in his limited life experience, this was the first time he'd seen his parents display such vulnerability. He clearly understood that he had to mature and face the coming storm, yet deep down, a trace of fragility remained. Lu Yu knew, as if covering him with her hand, offered him warmth. Gu Jiusi was so surprised, he turned sharply, wanting to ask you. She affirmed resolutely, "Don't be afraid. I'm here with you. I'll help you up. You won't lose face." A feeling of gratitude welled up within him. "All right, thank you, my wife." The carriage, having barely started, had to stop again. Madame Zhang's voice could be heard from outside, greeting Minister Wang. Lu Yunu peeked out to see. It was Wang Shanquan. Madame Zhang feigned ignorance, asking Minister Wang, "What brings you here?" "I was just about to visit your esteemed residence to see you." Wang Shanquan politely replied, "Madame Gu, I was also on my way to the Gu residence to see Master Gu and yourself. I didn't expect to meet you here." He bowed his head apologetically. "Why, son, had a conflict with your young master at the tavern. I was so worried when I heard about it, so I specifically brought him here to apologize. I hope Master Gu will be magnanimous, considering my son's leg is already broken, and forgive him. This old man is here to apologize on behalf of my son." Wang Shanquan put on a pained expression as he continued, "My foolish boy, when drunk, didn't know that the lady was the young madam of your esteemed household. He developed an admiration and wanted to get acquainted, but unexpectedly offended your eldest son. Whether we are beaten or scolded, we will accept it. We only hope you will be lenient and let this matter pass." Madame Jiang was stunned after hearing this, not knowing how he could be so shameless. Sure enough, the onlookers began to murmur, "Young Master Gu is truly too cruel. Young Master Wang only wanted to get acquainted with the young madam, yet he broke his leg. We heard he was in seclusion studying, thinking he had reformed his character. Who knew? His nature is like this. How can one change so easily?" Gu Jiusi, sitting inside the carriage, couldn't bear the false accusations and wanted to rush out. He's twisting the truth, saying I broke Wang Rong's leg out of jealousy. I want to go out there and beat him to death right now. Fortunately, Lu Yunu was beside him and stopped him in time. "Don't be so hasty. Wait until mother calls us out." Madame Jiang was no pushover. Though gentle, her reasoning was sharp. "Why son has a quick temper. Seeing your young master praising my daughter-in-law's beauty, he overreacted. It's our Gu family's fault for not disciplining him properly. That's why I immediately brought him here to apologize. We have already severely reprimanded him at home. Young Master Wang, taking notice of my daughter-in-law, is her blessing. Someone praising his wife and wanting her to accompany him for a while. Nothing really happened. Why such a harsh reaction? Wouldn't you agree?" The surrounding crowd immediately shifted their opinion. "Oh, he invited someone's wife to go out with him? So that's how it is. But a sly old fox like him wouldn't admit defeat so easily." "Madam, you misunderstand. My son only admired the young madam's temperament. Moreover, at that time, he truly didn't know she was the young madam of the Gu family. If he had known, he absolutely wouldn't have dared to make advances. Now his leg is broken. Please, madam, spare my son's life." At this moment, Gu Jiusi, fuming, charged out of the carriage before Lu Yunu could react. Outside, Wang Shanquan was still putting on a show. "Even though my son's leg is broken, I know madam already has a preconceived notion, and no matter what I say, it will be difficult to clear things up. This old man can only use the last shred of his dignity to beg madam for leniency to spare my son." Suddenly, Gu Jiusi's voice rang out, "Don't kneel." He rushed forward and grabbed Wang Shanquan's arm, gritting his teeth, and saying, "Minister Wang, please spare the Gu family a way out." Madame Jiang was startled by her son's sudden action. The surrounding crowd fell silent, anticipating the next act. Even Lu Yunu, inside the carriage, felt a burning anxiety. She had told him to be conciliatory, so why was he being so aggressive? She hurriedly got out of the carriage to explain for him. "Minister Wang, I sincerely apologize. My husband has an impulsive nature and is still rather childish. Please don't hold it against him." Then she turned to plead with her husband. "Jiusi, stop causing trouble. Apologize quickly." Unexpectedly, he turned and, lifting Wang Shanquan up, took the blame upon himself. "Minister Wang, it was my fault for striking young Master Wang today. I am willing to apologize, but before I do, I hope young Master Wang will apologize to my wife first." Everyone saw his sincerity But no one knew that his hand was tightly gripping Wang Shanquan's arm, exerting pressure. It caused him so much pain that he stammered, Young Master Gu is as kind and generous. He waited for these words, then released his grip and slowly recounted. Today, my wife went to the tavern to discuss business. For some reason, young Master Wang made inappropriate remarks. My wife, being gentle, wanted to leave, but young Master Wang forced her to stay and keep him company. Wang Rong angrily retorted, You're lying. I only complimented the young madam a few times and asked where she was from. How does that constitute making inappropriate remarks? This was the trap he had laid, leading Wang Rong into his questioning. The person accompanying my wife was my trusted servant. How could you not recognize him? Even if you didn't recognize the servant, even if my wife were just an ordinary girl, does young Master Wang have the right to harass and humiliate her based on his family's influence? It seemed they had planned this scenario beforehand, as Wang Shanquan quickly winked at his son. Upon receiving the signal, Wang Rong immediately understood and played along with his father, crying out in false accusation. Your uncle is the minister of the East Capital, and the Gu family is the wealthiest in Yangzhou. My father is only a local official. How would I dare offend you? Now everything is being twisted by your words. Gu Jiusi crossed his arms and swore to the heavens. It's true that my uncle is the minister, but this country has its laws. Jiusi. Madame Jiang was surprised by her son's mature words. He continued, Jiusi doesn't understand the complexities of the world, only that if there's a mistake, one must admit it, and if there's a crime, one must bear the consequences. Today, I was wrong, and I apologize. I'll take a leg as atonement, but before that, I ask young Master Wang, do you admit your mistake? He didn't expect the man to still try to push Jiusi to the edge. If just speaking a few words to a young lady is considered a mistake, then I can only accept that mistake. Seeing the other party's stubbornness, Gu Jiusi quickly snatched a sword from a nearby guard and resolutely raised it, intending to sever his own leg. Even Lu Yuniu, who always remained calm, cried out in distress. Gu Jiusi. Before his sword could fall, someone reacted even faster and stopped him. Chuya grabbed his arm, smiling as he said, Young Master Gu is courageous and takes responsibility, possessing noble character. Chu admires you greatly. However, young Master Gu still needs to help me escort the goods. If your leg is broken, it will be difficult for us. Then he turned to Wang Shanquan and greeted him. I am Chuya, the adopted son of Chu Gaolang of Yuzhou. Greetings, Minister Wang. I propose, how about exchanging the broken leg for 20 lashes to appease your anger? What do you think? Seeing someone of higher status, the old man became afraid and didn't dare to make further demands. It's young Master Chu. You are too kind. Although my son is seriously injured, it's not to the extent that young Master Gu should be injured as well. Let's forget this matter. At this moment, Madame Jiang also stepped forward and said, Minister Wang, you're exaggerating. This is a matter between children. I hope it won't harm the harmony between our families. Wang Shanquan, no longer wanting to lose more face, quickly found an excuse to retreat. Since the Gu family isn't pursuing the matter of my son, Wang is extremely grateful. Since it was a misunderstanding, I'll take my leave. He quickly ordered the guards to carry his crippled son away. Suddenly, Gu Jiusi spoke up, Stop. Wang Rong was so frightened he didn't dare make a sound. He coldly uttered, You haven't apologized to Yuniu. Wang Rong retorted indignantly, Gu Jiusi, don't go too far. You're clearly abusing your power. Gu Jiusi gripped the leather whip tightly, firmly stating, I'm not abusing my power. He immediately gripped the handle of the whip and brought it down on his own back with a sharp crack. The whip tore his clothes, and even someone as stoic as him had to grit his teeth to suppress a cry of pain. Both Lu Yuniu and Madame Jiang wanted to scream in anguish, but couldn't stop him. He asked again, I've said it before, if you make a mistake, you must admit it. Young Master Wang, have you admitted your mistake? Although Wang Rong was somewhat afraid, he remained silent. Gu Jiusi gritted his teeth and asked again, Young Master Wang, have you admitted your mistake? He lashes back again, 0.7 lashes. Young Master Wang, have you admitted your mistake? 11 lashes. Young Master Wang, have you admitted your mistake? The onlookers didn't dare to whisper anymore. Even the cunning Wang Shanquan looked panicked at this scene. 19 lashes. Young Master Wong, have you admitted your mistake? He raised the whip high, preparing to continue counting. Hey! Madame Jiang suddenly rushed forward, heartbroken, to stop him. She frantically grabbed his arm. Enough, Jiu-Si, enough. Although he was in pain, he couldn't bear to see his mother so distressed. But out of responsibility, he had to harden his heart and say, I'm fine, mother. I'm almost 20, a grown man. Please don't do this. People will laugh at us. Unable to bear the thought of him losing face, she could only weep, covering her mouth as she pleaded, Jiu-Si, please stop. He resolutely brought the whip down on his back one more time, persistently asking, 20 lashes. Young Master Wong, have you admitted your mistake yet? His brows furrowed, beads of cold sweat rolling down his face as he endured the pain. He moved closer and closer to Wong Rong, his impatience growing as he asked, Young Master Wong, I've given myself 20 lashes. Are you still not going to apologize to the Gu family? At this point, Wong Rong could no longer contain his emotions and burst into tears that I'm sorry, I was wrong. Young madam, I apologize, I was wrong. After receiving the apology, Gu Jiu-Si smiled in satisfaction. Then, exhausted, he collapsed, fainting from the pain. Lu Yunu rushed forward to support him, calling out in distress, Gu Jiu-Si. He still managed to raise his head and show off his accomplishment to her. He apologized. Seeing him endure such pain for her, she couldn't help but scold him affectionately. You're foolish. After returning to their residence and having his wounds treated and being cleaned up, he turned to his wife and pleaded, my back hurts today. I don't want to sleep on the floor. Can we sleep together tonight? Lu Yunu quickly agreed. All right. Seeing that she wasn't being strict with him, he was extremely puzzled. Why are you so obedient today? Could it be that you're captivated by me? Do you find me extremely handsome and charming? Lu Yunu could only sigh, unable to scold him as she usually did. Jiu-Si. Who did you learn that kind of self-praise from? He remained oblivious and continued his self-admiration. It's all true. I never lie. She carefully wiped his handsome face, gently reminding him, actually, whether he apologized or not isn't important. In the future, you have to learn to be more tactful. Don't be so blunt or you'll suffer for it. But he simply asked, are you happy? His question made her pause, unsure how to respond. Unfazed, Gu Jiu-Si took her hand and pressed it against his cheek, continuing to ask, seeing Wong Rong's fear and forced apology, were you even a little bit happy? Then he began to tell a story. When Chun Tan was young, he was just like you. He was bullied, but didn't dare say a word. I knew he was often wronged, but it's okay. As long as he's one of mine, I'll protect him. I took him to deal with each of his bullies one by one. When he heard their apologies, he cried tears of joy. Lu Yunu's eyes were now brimming with tears. Seeing her on the verge of tears, he stammered, Why? Why are you crying? I won't be impulsive like this again. Let's put it another way. Today, I taught the Wong family a lesson. 20 lashes in exchange for a leg. We came out on top. He pinched her cheek and pleaded, Don't cry anymore. Give me a smile. After she managed to smile, and he wiped away her remaining tears, he said with satisfaction, That's right. With me here, what do you have to be upset about? If you keep crying like this, it'll make me, your husband, feel like a failure. Don't tell me you want me to follow King Yu of Zhou and light beacon fires just to make you happy. Suddenly, she revealed her hidden feelings. I'm happy. Having someone treat me like this, I'm truly happy. She paused for a moment, then shyly continued. I just felt bad. Gu Jiu-Si, not noticing his own cheeks flushing with embarrassment, quickly replied, Oh, it's nothing. I used to fight all the time. I'm tough. It's no problem. Then, hugging a pillow and turning away, he said, You should be more casual. Don't think I'm too good. Think of it this way. If it weren't for me, you would have married Yi Shuren. The Yi family is so well off. They're all officials, no factions, no cliques. No matter how chaotic the world gets, they live peacefully. But our family, our success or failure depends on me. You married into this family, and if I weren't good to you, your life would be miserable. His voice softened. Lu Yunu, I'm saying if, okay? If something were to happen to the Gu family, if we were destroyed, you mustn't do anything rash. Survival is paramount. He turned back, looking directly into her eyes as he confessed his feelings. I've written you a divorce letter. Don't think I want to abandon you or break my promise. Don't think I'm treating you badly. I just want you to live a peaceful, safe life. Gu Jiu-Si looked at her intently, speaking frankly. I wrote you a divorce letter. Lu Yunu thought sadly to herself. The Gu family is so good, I don't want to leave. But if that day in my dream really comes, I'm just a mortal. What can I change? I'm afraid I really would have to leave. Suddenly, he flicked her forehead, chuckling to break the tense atmosphere. I'm just kidding. That day won't come. My parents are very capable, don't worry. She laughed in response. I know. Getting up and walking toward the candle, she continued. Actually, what you're thinking makes some sense. Let's consider the worst-case scenario. If, as you say, one day Prince Liang rebels, and your cousin is his concubine, and your uncle is close to Prince Liang. She blew out the flickering candle flame. Everything around them plunged into darkness, only her voice echoing. What do you think will happen next? He stroked his chin, offering his speculation. If I were your uncle, I would definitely try to get my family members into the palace. Marry them to a prince or princess, and when Prince Liang rebels, sit back and watch. Whoever wins, that's who I'd side with. Lu Yunyu took the opportunity to explain. So, my uncle plans to have you propose marriage to a princess. He suddenly realized the truth. Doesn't that mean he knows Prince Liang is going to rebel? She gently patted his head, reassuring him. It's okay, it's okay. It's all speculation. It can't be taken as fact. With the tension eased, Gu Jiu-Si realized he had been touched and indignantly questioned. Why did you pat my head? Like I'm a dog. She retorted. Your hair is so soft, it feels nice. He blushed, smoothing his hair and chiding his wife. Why aren't you more reserved? A man's head can't be touched so casually. She covered her mouth, giggling, but you're my husband. The next morning, Lu Yunyu strolled in the courtyard, thinking to herself. Gu Jiu-Si invited Mr. Wang early this morning to lecture him on the state of the world. He probably understands that even if he takes the imperial examination now, it's too late. So, he needs to learn the most crucial things first. Although he joked last night, Gu Jiu-Si had probably already made up his mind. As soon as Lu Yunyu entered the room, she saw him giving instructions to the servants. Mr. Wang's understanding is still insufficient. Listen to me. Investigate the names, backgrounds, and personalities of the officials in the 13 prefectures, and then give them to me. Is that clear? His trusted aide immediately bowed and acknowledged. Yes, young master. Seeing her, he asked cheerfully, weren't you going to stay for breakfast with my parents? Why did you come back so early? Didn't my mother keep you to chat a bit longer? Lu Yunyu replied gently, my parents are worried about your injury, so they told me to come back early and keep you company. While pouring tea, she recounted, yesterday my father and mother discussed the matter. Wang Shanquan's actions are clearly aimed at your uncle. We can't be sure who is behind it yet, but with the Gu family still in Yangzhou, there's a risk. My parents plan to scout out the 13 continents first and gradually transfer our businesses there. It will take 1 or 2 months at the earliest, half a year at the latest. We need to prepare early. Gu Jiu-Si accepted the cup of tea she offered and nodded. Yes, mother is always thorough. Hearing him say this, she asked curiously, couldn't it have been father's idea? He emphatically denied it. No way. That old man isn't as meticulous as my mother. It's a blessing he's not forcing me to cut ties with my uncle for the sake of righteousness this time. Lu Yunyu disagreed with his nonsense. Why do you think so poorly of your father? I heard that both your parents love you very much. Whenever Gu Langhua was mentioned, he became dejected. People are strange. Whenever they see someone with a rebellious personality, they immediately assume it's because they were spoiled by their parents. Many people think that if children don't obey, you just have to beat them. If they make a mistake, it must be because they haven't been beaten enough. She listened in astonishment as her husband continued. I hate that thinking. The more I'm beaten, the more I resist, which only fuels the rumors that he's not strict enough. When I was young and frail, he would beat me every time. Mother had to desperately intervene, and the house would be in chaos. Lu Yunyu curiously asked, then why didn't you just behave and be done with it? He retorted, are you stupid? If he hits you, and you obey once, he'll think it works. Next time something happens, he'll only know how to hit. Why do you think everyone thinks that way? It's because children endure the beatings, which only encourages adults to continue doing it. As he spoke, a spark lit up in his eyes. Do you know why young people always rebel? Because deep down, we have something we want to say. We want to teach them a lesson using their own methods. Hitting me is useless. I can only improve myself, and it definitely won't be because you force me to. The more she listened, the more she felt her mind expanding. Your thinking seems strange, but it also makes sense. But as soon as she complimented him, he responded smugly, I've always been reasonable. Lu Yunyu continued to raise her doubts. But if hitting you is useless, Then why did you listen to me when I forced you to come back from the Spring Breeze Pavilion and study? He scratched his head, finally daring to speak. Wasn't it because I felt guilty towards you and was afraid you'd die of anger? I'm not afraid of blood staining the Spring Breeze Pavilion. With my skills, if we were to fight, the one dead or injured wouldn't be me. But I was afraid of your stubbornness, truly afraid you'd hang yourself in front of my house. She gazed intently at the handsome man before her, unable to help but think of the saying, "Gentlemen can be persuaded by reason, but not by force." In the short 10 years of my life, of all the men I've met, even the famously disciplined disciples of the Yi family, none could truly live by their principles like Gu Jiusi. She remembered each lash he took on her behalf, that I said, "One must admit their mistakes." "Young Master Wang, do you understand your error?" That man, once labeled a frivolous playboy, was walking the path of a gentleman in his own quiet, incomprehensible way. He retreated to advance, teaching me through his own forbearance. Gu Jiusi planted that rebellious, enigmatic seed in my heart, and it sprouted. I was like an outsider stepping into his world, quietly observing, understanding, and delving deeper into him. Gu Jiusi, his face flushed crimson from being stared at, couldn't help but ask, "Why do you keep looking at me? What are you thinking?" She thought to herself, "He's a treasure beyond my expectations, each exploration revealing a new surprise." This time she smiled, sincerely uttering each word. "Thank you for giving me a new beginning. A life truly full of twists and turns, but free and unrestrained." She raised her teacup. He didn't hesitate to clink his cup against hers. "All right, then, with emphasis, to our beautiful dreams, to the myriad miles of brocade and flowers that lie ahead." Understanding each other's hearts, they were willing to face all trials together.